what's the music? The music is my theme song. That's my theme song. Someone made it for me. It's in the credits if you go down. Hi, everyone! Hi, Ben. Hi, Mumu. Hi, Colin. Hi, Peachy. Hi, Jules. Hi, Pappy. Hi, Richard! Nono's theme's a bop, isn't it? The ending theme is a quieter version of it. But I usually punt you guys into another person's stream before you can hear it. How are you guys? Today we're finishing Warrior Cats Fire and Ice. I think we can do it. We have 50 pages? Yeah, 50 pages. That's not too bad. We can do that. That's so cute, Mumu. I've been seeing so much words on my TikTok, so I'm desperate to read more. We're gonna hit the climax today. Yay, you're almost home. What have you guys been eating today? I ate a cup noodle just a second ago. Oh, and you guys will be proud of me. I have with me to drink water. I have water. Just water. I know. Oh, water. Hi, cat. Rice with soy sauce and pork. Oh, that sounds so good. I had a sippy. Today I felt like I wanted to drink water. It was very odd. I'm gonna have salmon for dinner. Salmon's my favorite. Is it cooked salmon or raw salmon? Or grilled salmon? Or smoked salmon? Jerky salmon? All of these are good salmons. Somebody here, you. It's a Momo! I like your color combination of your pop cup. I had to see who it was. You're eating chicky. I don't like salmon except for smoked salmon on an everything bagel. Isn't that like smoked salmon cream cheese? Or for real smoked salmon? Salmons are one of my favorite animals. Are they considered animals? I'm considering them animals. Smoked salmon and regular cream cheese and onion. I did ask if fish are animals. I have salmon everywhere. Raw, smoked, or just cooked normal. Me too. Wait, fish. Fish are animals. Oh, okay. I always get confused about like mammals and like, you know, like mammals, birds, fish. And then I keep up thinking that like these don't fall under animals? Or mammals fall under animals? Nono needs a biology class. I never took biology. I wish I did. I took physics instead of biology. Can you believe it? I took physics instead of biology. I know. Never took biology? No! You weren't required to take both? No. Well, we had Science 9 and Science 10. And that kind of covered everything except who pays attention in Science 9 and Science 10. And then you're required to take one science after that. And I took physics. You could choose chem, biology, or physics, and I picked physics. And then you didn't need to do one for the last year. Canada, what do you do? You know what I took instead? I took family... I got rid of my lunch block so I could take family studies and child development because I really wanted that fake baby. And guess what? I got perfect score on my fake baby. I mean, if you want, I can give you a very shallow biology class, but I don't know. I want to learn about like funguses and like cells. And then in college you were also required to take a science, and I took dinosaurs. It was called dinosaurs. Maybe it was something else. Dinosaurs 101. Bum 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 bum. I know. It was a really good... I love that class so much. And my teacher loved dinosaurs so much as well. Paleontologist! Yeah, except I don't think it had that name. I think it was literally dinosaurs. Like, it didn't have a fancy name. It was just dinosaurs. I love dinosaurs. They're good friends of mine. I'm having a little bit more of my noodles, my cup noodles. I think being a paleontologist would be really cool. Y'all ever play Fossil Fighters? I think that's a suggested game. I think someone suggested that to me. Did they? I feel like they did. Heard of it, never played it. Cat did, no? Oh, were you the one that suggested it in the first place? Fossil Fighters, DS. It's on my list. Someone suggested it. It's not on my list. Nah, I never once brought it up till now. I think it might be like... It could have been like Panda. Panda, maybe? I'm not sure. Mystery. It is! Perfect. Came out on the DS. Do you consider DS games old now? Oh my gosh, Peachy, we said that at the exact same time. Holy. Guys, I was watching a video and it was like, you know those, what are they called? Those two dudes that stand around on a campus and they have a sign on the chest and then it's like, we want someone to dance and they get $100, you know? And this one guy was like, he was holding a floppy disk and the sign was like, first person who tells us what this is gets $100. And then people walked by and stared at it. And they were like, And then they kept on walking. I was like... And then there was like a little crowd around it. And they were trying to figure out what it was. And one person was like, it's for a computer, right? I know this. And then finally someone who walked by was like a floppy disk. And then they're like, yeah. And then they gave it to him. And then the people in the little crowd were like, oh yeah, a floppy disk. DS era. The DS era was special to me because that was my first handheld. 2DS. 2DS. My DS Lite is in kind of rough shape. I had like 5 different... I had like at least 3 different Nintendo DS Lites, the pink Nintendo DS Lites, because they kept on breaking. And like my mom would keep on having to buy me new ones. Luckily they were pretty cheap. But at one point I found out she had a Nintendo DS Lite stashed away just in case I broke it. Or it got broke. Because they didn't have like a case for them, and I'm really notorious for dropping things. It's my DS charger, so it's sitting without power, but my 3DS is still hanging on. I wonder, I don't think I have my DS Lite charger. That's a good question. It's one thing to have the console, but it's another thing if you have the charger for it or not. Sir once took my DS into a bath? Why would she do that? What? Pokemon X. Cookie Mon, Godly Mama, Fossil Fighters, Mario Kart, and finally Game Boy Ruby. I had those, like, you know, those little like DS cartridge cases, and they were like little black, and then you could like open them and then store 4 inside. Thank you for the lick, Lulu. Have a good dinner. That's where all mine are. And I had like a pink purse that I put all my DS Lite stuff in. It's like right next to me, but I have to get up and reach for it, so I won't get it. I know I had Pokemon Diamond, Pokemon Mystery Dungeon, Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Darkness, Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Sky. I had a Tamagotchi game. I had Animal Crossing. I think I have Children of Mana. Except that wasn't mine, it was someone else's. Hi, Ash! I had a lot. Oh, I had Kirby. Sorry I'm late, I was in the middle of a deep rock game. Dun, 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 dun. I don't know what else I had. It'd come to me slowly. No, can you randomize Pokemon Explorers of Sky? What does random... Squeaker Squad! Squeaker Squad? What's that? That sounds so cute. Squeaker Squad. Oh, wait. Did I have this? I don't think I had this one. I know I had Superstar. Maybe I did. I don't know. Oh, I had the Legend of Zelda one that was like a chibi. You know, what was it? It was like a little chibi one. Sneaky Sam, I think I loved it. I kept playing it on my... Stole it? What the... Hi! Postally, what could it be? It's double cats now. It means that all Pokemon items and other things will be randomized, so Legend can be your partner and stuff like that. Oh. Finish cap. Minish cap? Hourglass! It was like Hourglass something. Legend of Zelda Hourglass. I didn't win that game because I've never won a single one before. My randomizer playthrough, I am a Growth and my partner is a Gliscor. Aww. Phantom I never won that game because I'm dumb. And it was a lot of puzzles. So many puzzles. So little brain. You guys are tempting me more and more to go reach it. But we can't! We have to finish Warrior Cats! Okay. What was it? Previously on Warrior Cats. Fire and Ice. What happened? Oh yes. Graystripe and Fireheart had recently gotten new apprentices. However, we found out last time that... Oh, wait. Yeah. Last time, Graystripe fell into the river and got washed away, and then a cat saved him. But then... I had a Cory come into the store today. Oh, hard butt. Oh my god. Oh no, Juice. That sucks so much. I have that. That's like such a unique DS experience. Anyways, previously on Warrior Cats, Fire and Ice. After falling into the river and getting saved by Silverstream, Graystripe got sick, and then we found out that he was actually sneaking out and meeting up with Silverstream, and the two of them are now in love. They are now star-crossed lovers from River Clan and Thunder Clan. And because of this, Fireheart, who followed him one day and found out and confronted him, they're now having a little fight. They're fighting a lot, and they're giving each other attitude. But Fireheart is being very hypocritical because we know that Fireheart has been sneaking out and a cat fight, if you will. Fireheart has been sneaking out and visiting his sister, who's a kitty pet. So he's going and he's hanging out with his sister kitty pet while also judging. Thank you for the follow, 30 Fireboy! Why is Fire such a hater? Just because nobody wants to date him? Right? Just because your bestie has a lover now doesn't mean that you can be so mad. I just joined. You did. Wanna fight him. And then what? Oh yes. There was a terrible illness that spread upon the clan. Green cough and white cough, because it's the winter months. And some kits got sick, and an elder got sick, and Blue Star got sick, and she got so sick she actually lost a life. Green cough or white cough, both of them. White cough was like light. But anyone, I just practiced every word in Spanish. I'm not sure what that means. Fireboy. If I fight with anyone... Oh! Don't worry, you won't fight with anyone. And... yes, Blue Star died. She only has one life left, which is pretty freaky, if you ask me. Gosh, what else? What else happened? Oh, so Fireheart, since Fireheart has been kind of iffy with Graystripe and he was being a little loner boy, Sandpaw has been kind of chatting with him a little more. She's not as rude to him since he saved her that one time. And they were on a patrol together, and they saw that the River Clan river was frozen over. And so they went back and they reported it, and Blue Star was like, yo, that's awesome, let's go raid them right now. And then Gray Stripe was all tense and stuff, and Fireheart was like, oh, I'll do it. And he did it. So he did it because he was looking out for Gray Stripe. Yes, Cinderpaw, that's coming up next. Raid Shadow Legends. You don't remember that? Maybe you missed it. This was right before Gray Stripe tackled Fireheart, and they had a little spit, a little fight in the middle of the clearing, and everyone was like, what the? And then there was this big drama. This was while Blue Star was losing a life. Tiger Claw was like, oh, go get Blue Star, bring her to the Thunder Clan and Shadow Clan border because we have evidence of Shadow Clan raiding in our territory. And then everyone was like, yo, we're not gonna bring Blue Star out, she's sick. And so Fireheart was like, okay, I'm gonna go get some catnip for Blue Star, and then I'm gonna go meet with Tiger Claw at the border and tell him that Blue Star can't come because she is ill. But Cinderpaw, who's his apprentice and is notoriously bad at listening to directions, decided that she would go tell Tiger Claw herself. And so she went, and then she got hit by a car. And she got messed up pretty badly. And luckily, she hasn't died yet that we know of. Her leg is kind of busted, but she's trucking on. I don't think she's woken up. I don't think she's spoken to Fireheart yet, actually. Fireheart's just been really depressed. And then that one time Gray Stripe woke up. What was that? That was so funny. He was he came in and he was like, oh my god, Fireheart, you suck. I don't appreciate you talking to Silverstream without my permission. And then Fireheart was like, all right. And then he woke up in the morning and he found out that Blue Star lost a life, and Fireheart was like, yeah, dude, I was there. I saw her die, dude. And then Gray Stripe was like, oh. And then later on, he was like, sorry, Cinderpaw, what happened? Yeah. And then Fireheart was like, yo, if you stopped going to see your girlfriend, then maybe you would know the struggles that I have been dealing with all alone. And then we ended with Fireheart going to go see Princess, his sister. And he had been there previously, and he kind of vented, and she soothed him. And now he's visiting, and she came, and she brought one of her kittens to come see him. And what she said, I have brought him for you, Fireheart. I want you to take him back with you to your clan so he can be your new apprentice. She's giving him her firstborn son because she knows how much he wants an apprentice, and his apprentice died, and he was sad. I called it that somebody would get hit by a car in my first week. Yeah, remember when it was the what was it? They were doing the tour of the ThunderClan territory, and we found out about the Thunder Path then. Okay, that's where we're at. Let's continue. Let us begin. Sounds like a bad time with the illness spreading. Yeah. Luckily, I think it's kind of stopped. Hopefully. I'm not sure how the kits are doing, but Blue Star's better. Gray Stripe is better. Gray Stripe, who has also... Hey, think about it. He stopped. He decided he wasn't going to train his apprentice, and Fireheart was training his apprentice while he went off to go smooch his kitty lover. Can you believe that? Poor Breaking Paw. His sister's gotten smushed by a car, and his his mentor's been avoiding training him so he can see a girl. Wow. Wow. Okay. Let's begin. We're on chapter 21. Fireheart stared at the tiny kid. I never expected, he began. He dragged his gaze away and stared wordlessly at his sister. My housefolk will choose where the rest will live, Princess went on. But this is my firstborn, and I want to decide his future. She raised her chin. Make him a hero, please, like you. The unsettling sense of loneliness that had been dragging at Fireheart for so long began to ebb away. He pictured the white kit among the clan as he showed him the ways of the forest and hunted by his side through the thick ferns. At last, there would be another ThunderClan cat who shared Fireheart's kitty pet roots. Princess tilted her head. I know how upset you were about your apprentice. I thought if you had a new apprentice, one who's your own kin, you wouldn't feel so lonely. She stretched her neck and rested her nose against Fireheart's side. I don't understand all your clan ways, but seeing you and hearing you talk about your life, I know I would be honored if my son was brought up as a clan cat. Reganpaw and Cinderpaw are siblings? Yeah! As the first flare of happiness settled inside him, Fireheart thought of the rest of this clan and how desperately they needed fighting cats. Cinderpaw would never be a warrior now. And what if the green cough took more life than just blue stars? ThunderClan might need this kit. He was suddenly aware of the rain clinging to his fur. The kit needed shelter, and soon. It looked strong, but it was still too small to withstand the cold and wet for long. I'll take him, he meowed. This is a great gift you've given to ThunderClan, and I'll train him to be the finest warrior the clan has ever seen. He dipped his head and scooped up the kit by its scruff. Princess's eyes shone with gratitude and pride. Thank you, Fireheart, she purred. Who knows? Maybe he'll even become a leader and be given 9 lives. Fireheart gazed fondly at her trusting, hopeful face. Did his sister really believe this might happen? Then a twinge of doubt prickled him. He was taking this tiny kit back to camp, infected with green cough. What if he didn't even make it to New Leaf? But the cozy scent of the kit under his muzzle soothed him. The kit would survive. It was strong, and it shared his blood. Fireheart took a deep breath. He must be quick. The kit was getting cold already. He blinked a farewell to Princess and raced away into the bushes. The kit was heavier than he'd expected. It dangled from his mouth, bumping against his forelegs with faint protest squeaks. By the time Fireheart reached the top of the ravine, his neck was aching. He made his way down to camp, putting one paw carefully in front of the other, wary of slipping on the fast-melting snow. At the entrance, Fireheart hesitated. For the first time, he wondered how he would explain this kit to the clan. He was going to have to admit to visiting his kitty pet sister. But it was too late now. He could feel the kit shivering. Fireheart squared his shoulders and padded through the gorse tunnel. The kit let out a deafening wail as a thorn tugged its fur. Several pairs of eyes turned to look in amazement as Fireheart emerged into the clearing. Both hunting parties had returned. Mousefur, Whitestorm, Sandpaw, and Breakenpaw were all in the clearing. Only Graystripe was missing. One by one, the rest of the clan were drawn out of their dens by the noise and the unfamiliar scent. None of the cats made a sound. They stared at Fireheart with hostile, puzzled eyes, as though he were a stranger. Fireheart turned slowly in the center of the clearing, with the kit still dangling from his mouth, and looked at the ring of questioning eyes. His mouth began to feel dry. Why had he assumed the clan would accept a kit that wasn't even forest-born? He felt a rush of relief when Blue Star emerged from Yellowfang's den, but her eyes widened in surprise as she saw him. "What is this?" she demanded. A tremor of foreboding ran along Fireheart's spine. He placed the kit between his front paws and wrapped his tail around it to keep it warm. "It's my sister's firstborn," he replied. "Your sister!" Tigerclaw glared at him accusingly. "You have a sister?" called Speckletail. "Where?" "The same place as Fireheart was born, of course," Longtail hissed with disgust. "Two-Leg Place." "Is that true?" Bluestar asked, her eyes widening further. Yes, Fireheart admitted. My sister gave it to me to bring to the clan. And why would she do that? Bluestar asked with menacing calm. Fireheart stammered nervously. I told her about clan life, how great it was. His voice trailed away under Bluestar's incredulous gaze. How long have you been visiting the two-leg place? Not long, just since Leaf Bear began, but only to see my sister. My loyalty still lies with ThunderClan. Loyalty? Darkstarp's yowl rang across the clearing. And yet you bring a kitty pet here. Isn't having one kitty pet in the clan enough? Croaked one of the elders. Trust a kitty pet to find another kitty pet, snarled Dustpaw, ruffling his fur indignantly. He turned to Sandpaw and nudged her with his nose. Sandpaw glanced uncomfortably at Fireheart and then looked down at her paws. Why have you brought it here? Tigerclaw growled. We need warriors. The tiny kit squirmed beneath his belly as he spoke. Fireheart realized how ridiculous he must sound. He bowed his head as yowls of scorn met his words. When the insults had died away, Running Wings spoke up. The clan has enough to worry about already without this. It'll be nothing but a burden, Mousefur agreed. It'll at least be 5 moons before it's ready to begin training. Whitestorm nodded his head in agreement. You shouldn't have brought this kitty pet here, Fireheart, he meowed. It'll be too soft for the clan life. Fireheart bristled. I was born a kitty pet. Am I soft? He thought that he'd begun to challenge the clan's prejudice against kitty pets, but he was wrong. He couldn't see one friendly face in the crowd. A voice sounded from behind Whitestorm. If it carries Fireheart's blood, it'll make a good clan cat. Fireheart felt relief surge through his body. It was Graystripe! A brief flame of hope flared in Fireheart's chest as Whitestorm stood aside and another cat turned to look at the Grey Warrior. Other cats turned to look at the Grey Warrior. Graystripe stared around the circle of cats, meeting their gazes one by one with wide, steady eyes. Makes a change to see you speak up for your friend, Graystripe. Last night you wanted to shred him, sneered Longtail. Graystripe glared at the pale tabby, then whipped around it as Darkstripe challenged him. Yeah, Graystripe. How do you know Fireheart was blood-worthy at ThunderClan? Did you taste it last night when you tried a chunk out of his leg? Bluestar stepped forward, her blue eyes clouded with worry. Fireheart, I believe that you meant no disloyalty to the clan by visiting your sister, but why did you agree to bring her kit here? It is not your place to make decisions like this. What you have done affects the whole clan. Fireheart looked at Graystripe, hoping for more support, but Graystripe wouldn't meet his eyes. Fireheart craned his head around, and every cat turned their gaze away from him. Fireheart began to panic. Had he endangered his own position in the clan by bringing Princess's kit here? Bluestar spoke again. Tigerclaw, what do you think? What do I think? Meowed Tigerclaw. Fireheart felt his heart sink at the note of arrogant satisfaction in the deputy's voice. I think you should get rid of it at once. Golden Flower? It certainly looks too small to survive until New Leaf, the Ginger Queen remarked. It'll have green cough by sunrise, added Mousefur. Or it'll eat up our fresh kill until next snowfall and then die of cold, spat Running Wing. Bluestar dipped her head. That's enough. I must think about this. She padded to her den and disappeared inside. The rest of the clan slipped away, muttering darkly. Fireheart picked up the bedraggled kit and carried him to the warrior's den. The kit was shivering and meowing pathetically. Fireheart curled his body around the little scrap and closed his eyes, but hostile faces of the clan swam around in his mind, filling his heart with dread. He thought he had been lonely before, but now it seemed as if the entire clan had disowned him. Graystripe pushed his way into the den and settled down into his nest. Fireheart glanced nervously at him. Graystripe had been the only cat to speak in his defense, and Fireheart wanted to thank him. After an uncomfortable pause, in which the kit cried and cried, Fireheart mumbled, Thanks for sticking up for me. Graystripe shrugged. Yeah, well, he meowed. No one else was going to do it. He twisted his head around and began to wash his tail. The kit carried on mewling, his cries growing louder and louder. Some of the other warriors padded into the den to escape the rain. Outside, Willowpet glanced briefly at Fireheart and the kit, but she didn't speak. "Can't you shut that thing up?" complained Darkstripe as he prodded the moss in his nest. Fireheart licked the kit desperately. It must be very hungry by now. A rustle in the den wall made him lift his head. It was Frostfur. She crept over to Fireheart's nest and looked down at the miserable kit. Suddenly, she dipped her head and sniffed the kit's soft fur. "He'd be better off in the nursery," she murmured. "Brindleface has milk to spare. I could ask her to feed it." Fireheart stared at the queen in surprise. Frostfur gazed back at him, her eyes warm. "I haven't forgotten that you rescued my kits from ShadowClan." Fireheart picked up the kit yet again and followed Frostfur out of the warrior's den. The rain was even heavier now. Together they padded quickly to the nursery. Frostfur disappeared through the narrow entrance, and Fireheart squeezed in after her. He paused inside the thicket of brambles, blinking until his eyes got used to the dim light. Inside the dry, dark cocoon, Brindleface was curled around her two healthy kits. She looked suspiciously at Fireheart, then at the kit that dangled from his jaw. Frostfur whispered to Fireheart, "One of Brindleface's kits died last night." Fireheart remembered the sick kit squirming beside Yellowfang and wondered with a pang which one had gone. He put Princess's kit down and turned to Brindleface. "I'm sorry," he murmured. The queen blinked at him, her grief raw in her eyes. "Brindleface," Frostfur began, "I can only guess how much pain you feel. But this kid is starving, and you have milk. Will you feed him?" Brindleface shook her head and shut her eyes tight, as if to deny Fireheart's presence in her den. Frostfur stretched her head forward and pressed her muzzle gently against Brindleface's cheek. "I know he won't replace your son," she whispered, "but he needs your warmth and care." Fireheart waited anxiously. The kit's cries grew louder. It could smell Brindleface's milk and began to squirm blindly towards her soft belly. It nuzzled its way between Brindleface's other two kits. Brindleface looked down and as it wiggled forward, following her milk scent. She watched without resisting as it latched onto her belly and began to suckle. Fireheart ached with relief and gratitude as he saw Brindleface's eyes soften and the white kit began to purr, kneading her swollen stomach with its tiny paws. Frostfur nodded. "Thank you, Brindleface. Can I tell Bluestar that you will care for the kit?" "Yes," replied Brindleface quietly, not taking her eyes off the white kit. She nudged him closer pressed her closer to her belly with one hind paw. Fireheart looked up at the White Queen, stirred by her kindness. "Thank you," he mewed. "No kit deserves to starve, clanborn or not." Frostfur turned and pushed her way out of the brambles. "You can go now," Brindleface murmured to Fireheart. "Your kit will be safe with me." Fireheart nodded and followed Frostfur out into the rain. He thought about returning to his den, but until he'd heard Bluestar's decision about the kit, he knew he could not settle. As he paced around the clearing, his fur matted into wet clumps, he saw Frostfur slip out of Bluestar's den and hurry back to the nursery. Willowpelt was preparing to lead the evening patrol out of the camp when Bluestar finally came out of her den. Fireheart stopped, his heart pounding so fast he thought his legs would give away under him. Bluestar leaped onto the high rock and began the familiar summons. "Let all cats old enough to catch their own prey gather below the high rock." The patrol turned away from the camp entrance and padded after Willowpet, back towards the high rock. Willowpelt? Did I say Willowpet? Willowpelt, back towards the high rock. The rest of the clan began to leave their dry nests, grumbling about the rain. Tigerclaw leaped onto the rock beside Bluestar, his face grim. "They're gonna make me take him back," Fireheart thought. His breath began to come in shallow gasps. Darker thoughts pushed his way into Fireheart's mind. What if Bluestar asked Tigerclaw to abandon him in the forest? He'll never survive. Oh, StarClan, what am I going to say to Princess? When all the cats were settled, Bluestar spoke. "Cats of ThunderClan, no cat can deny that we need warriors. We have lost one cat to Greencough already, and there are many moons until New Leaf. Cinderpaw has been gravely injured, and she will never be a warrior. As Greystripe rightly pointed out..." Fireheart heard Dustpaw whisper nearby, "Greystripe's turning into a kitty pet himself these days." He turned his head sharply, but a warning hiss from one of the elders silenced Dustpaw before Fireheart could say anything. "As Greystripe pointed out," Bluestar repeated, "this kitty pet carries Fireheart's blood. There is every chance the kit will make a fine warrior. Some of the clan glanced at Fireheart, who had barely heard Blue Star's compliment. Hope was surging in his chest, making him dizzy. Blue Star paused for a moment to survey the cats in front of her. I have decided that we will take this kit into the clan, she declared. No cat made a sound. Fireheart wanted to yowl his thanks to the Star Clan, but he held his tongue. He took his first deep breath since Sun High. His own kin was going to be part of Thunder Clan. Brindleface has offered to nurse it, Blue Star went on, so Fireheart will take on the duty of providing for her. The clan leader met Fireheart's eyes, but he couldn't read her expression. Finally, the kit should have a name. It shall be known as Cloud Kit. Will there be a naming ceremony? Mousefur called from the crowd. Fireheart looked eagerly up at the high rock. Would his sister's kit be granted this privilege, as he had been when the clan had formally accepted him? Blue Star looked down at Mousefur, her eyes cold. No, she answered. Dang. Chapter 22. Guys, my throat hurts. But I think it's because of my instant noodles. I feel like there's a... Thank you for the hydrate! I feel like there's a weird... layer of instant noodle soup in my throat. The water should help. What noodle are you eating? It's Senporo Ichiban. Ow. They're rebelling. I'm gonna eat a maple candy. Maybe it'll soothe my throat. What's a hard candy? Never heard of that one. Sussy. Okay, I'm gonna try and continue to read while I have this in my mouth. Chapter 22. Oh, this might be hard. The days leading up to the next full moon dragged by slowly for Fireheart. It already seemed ages since the last gathering. Rain clouds had kept the moon covered last time, and the clans had stayed away from the 4 trees. Meanwhile, patrol after patrol reported scenting River Clan warriors at Sunning Rocks, and Shadow Clan's scent had been discovered again by the owl trees. When he wasn't hunting or patrolling, Fireheart divided this time between Cloudkit, Cinderpaw, and Breakinpaw. Hi! Welcome in. Wait, is it welcoming you? You're welcoming yourself in? Returning chatter. I'm welcoming myself, yes. Hello! Let's see. Oh! Faith! Hi, hello, how's lovely Nono today? Good! We're reading Warrior Cats today. We're gonna finish the book. I'm trying to suck on a maple candy to soothe my throat. Wash my face. Enjoy! Okay. Even though Greystripe had resumed his role as Breakinpaw's mentor, Fireheart soon began to notice the young apprentice at loose ends from time to time. Fireheart soon began to notice the young apprentice at loose ends from time to time. His mentor nor were in sight. Hunting was all Breakinpaw would say when Fireheart asked where Greystripe has gone. Why didn't you go with him? Meowed Fireheart. He said I could go tomorrow. Fireheart felt the usual prickle of anger at Graystripe's stubbornness, but he shrugged it away. He gave up trying to make Graystripe see sense. They had hardly spoken since Fireheart had brought Cloudkit back to camp. But he made an effort to take Breaking-Paw out whenever Graystripe went missing, just to keep the apprentice out of sight. Fireheart knew that Tigerclaw wouldn't accept Breaking-Paw's answers so easily. Finally, the full moon appeared in a cloudless sky. Fireheart came back from hunting early. He passed the fallen oak, deserted now that Swiftpaw and Speckletail Kit had recovered. He dropped his catch on the pile and headed towards Yellowfing's den to visit Cinderpaw. Even the threat of Greencough had left the camp for now. Only Cinderpaw remained with the medicine cat. As Fireheart padded through the tunnel, he could see the small gray she-cat in the clearing ahead. She was helping Yellowfing prepare some herbs. Fireheart winced as he watched Cinderpaw limp heavily towards the split rock with a mound full of dry leaves. Fireheart! Cinderpaw spat out the herbs and turned to greet him as he emerged from the tunnel. I could only just send you through these disgusting things. Those disgusting things helped cure your leg, growled Yellowfing. Well, you should have used more, resorted Cinderpaw, but Fireheart was relieved to see that she had a mischievous glint in her eyes. Look at this! She twitched her twisted leg. I can hardly reach my claws to watch them. Perhaps I should give you a few more exercises to loosen it up, meowed Yellowfang. No thanks, meowed Cinderpaw quickly. They hurt. They're meant to hurt. It shows they're working. The old medicine cat turned to Fireheart. Perhaps you'll have more luck persuading her to do them. I'm going to the forest to dig up some comfy roots. I'll try, Fireheart promised as Yellowfang padded past him. You'll know if she's doing them right, the medicine cat called over her shoulder, because she'll complain. Cinderpaw limped over to Fireheart and touched her nose with his. Thanks for coming to see me. She sat down and grimaced as she tucked her bad leg under her. I like coming to see you, Fireheart purred. I miss our training sessions. He regretted his words as soon as he'd uttered them. A wistful look clouded Cinderpaw's eyes. Me too, she meowed. When do you think I'll be able to start again? Fireheart stared at her, his heart sinking. Clearly Yellowfang hadn't told her yet that she would never be a warrior. Perhaps if we try some of your exercises, it'll help, he meowed evasively. Okay, mewed Cinderpaw, but just a few. She lay on her side and stretched her leg till her face was twisted with pain. Slowly, her teeth clenched. Teeth clenched. She began to move in backwards and forwards. You're doing very well, Fireheart meowed, hiding the sorrow that lay like a rock in his stomach. Cinderpaw let her leg drop and lay still for a moment. Then she pushed herself up. Fireheart watched her quietly as she shook her head. I'm never going to be a warrior, am I? Fireheart couldn't lie to her. No, he whispered. I'm so sorry. He stretched his muzzle towards her and licked her head. After a few moments, she gave a long sigh and lay down again. I knew it, really, she mewed. It's just that sometimes I dream about being in the forest, hunting with Breaking-Paw, and then I wake up and the pain in my leg reminds me I'll never hunt again. It feels too much to bear. I have to pretend that maybe, one day, I'll be able to hunt. Fireheart couldn't bear to see her in such low spirits. I'll take you out into the forest again, he promised. We'll find the oldest, slowest mouse in the woods. It won't stand a chance against you. Cinderpaw looked at him and purred gratefully. Fireheart purred back at her, but there was a question that had been nagging him since the accident. Cinderpaw, he began, can you remember exactly what happened when the monster hit you? Was Tigerclaw there? Cinderpaw's eyes clouded with confusion. I don't know, she stammered. Fireheart felt a pang of guilt as he saw her flinch away from the memory. I went straight to the burned ash where Dustpaw said Tigerclaw would be. And then there was a monster, and I don't really remember. You wouldn't have realized how thin the verge was there, Fireheart shook his head slowly. You must have ran straight into the Thunder Path. Why wasn't Thunderclaw where he said he'd be? He thought with a flash of rage. He could have stopped her from running out. Princess's words rang ominously in his head. Was it a trap? He pictured Tigerclaw crouching downwind, hidden among the trees, staring at the verge, waiting. How's Cloudkit? Cinderpaw Mew cut short his thoughts. She clearly wanted to change the subject. Fireheart was happy to oblige, especially if it meant talking about Princess's son. Getting bigger every day, he meowed proudly. I'm dying to meet him. When are you going to bring him to visit me? As soon as Brindleface lets me, Fireheart answered. She won't let him out of her sight at the moment. She likes him then? She treats him just like her other kits, Fireheart meowed. Thanks, StarClan. To be honest, I wasn't sure she'd take to him. He looks so different from her other kits. Even Fireheart couldn't deny that Cloudkit's snowy pelt of soft fur looked out of place beside the other kits, with the forest-colored coats of their short, molted fur. At least he gets on well with his nursery mates. Fireheart's voice trailed away. He stared at the ground, feeling a twang of anxiety. What's the matter? Cinderpaw prompted gently. Fireheart shrugged. I'm just sick of the way some other cats look at him, like he's stupid or worthless. Does Cloudkit notice these looks? Fireheart shook his head. Well, don't worry then, Cinderpaw mewed. But Cloudkit doesn't even know he was born a kitty pet. I think he just assumes he's from a different clan. But if they keep giving him these dirty looks, he's gonna realize there's something wrong with him. Fireheart looked at his paws fretfully. Something wrong with him? Echoed Cinderpaw in wonder. You were born a kitty pet, and there's nothing wrong with you. Look, by the time Cloudkit works out where he came from, he'll be able to start proving that a kitty pet can be as good as any clan-born warrior, just like you've done. Cinderpaw is so good. What if somebody tells him before he's ready? If he's anything like you, he was born ready. When did you get so smart? Fireheart meowed, rather surprised by his apprentice's sharpness. Cinderpaw rolled onto her back with a dramatic moan. Suffering can do that to a cat. Fireheart prodded her stomach with a paw, and Cinderpaw squeaked before scrambling back to her side. No, really, she mewed. Look who I've been hanging out with lately. Fireheart tipped her head to one side questioningly. Yellowfang, you dope, Cinderpaw scoffed. She's one sharp old cat. I'm learning a lot. She sat up. Yellowfang said there's a gathering tonight. Are you going? I don't know, Fireheart admitted. Oh, I forgot to loop our cat music. I'm gonna ask Bluestar later. I'm not exactly popular with the clan at the moment. They'll get over it, Cinderpaw promised. She nudged his shoulder. Shouldn't you go and find out if you're going then? They'll be leaving soon. You're right, Fireheart replied. Cat music? Ambiance? Yes. Will you be okay till Yellowfang gets back? Do you want me to fetch you some fresh gill? I'll be fine, Cinderpaw assured him. And Yellowfang will bring me something. She always does. I'm going to be the fattest cat in the clan by the time she's done with me. Fireheart felt a burst of happiness to see his former apprentice recovering her spirit. He was tempted to stay and keep her company, but she was right. He should find out if he can go to the gathering. I'll see you tomorrow then, he meowed. There should be plenty of news from the gathering. Yeah, and I want to hear it all, Cinderpaw mewed. Make sure Bluestar lets you go. Quick! I'm going, Fireheart retorted, getting to his paws. Bye, Cinderpaw. Bye! Fireheart stopped at the edge of the clearing and looked around for Bluestar. She was talking with Willowpet outside her den. Fireheart reached them just as Willowpet stood up to leave. The slender gray warrior nodded to Fireheart as she padded away. Bluestar gazed at Fireheart with knowing eyes. You want to go to the gathering, she meowed. Fireheart opened his mouth to speak, but Bluestar interrupted him. All warriors want to go tonight, but I can't take every cat. Fireheart felt disappointed. I wanted to see WindClan again, he explained, to find out how they've been getting on since Graystripe and I brought them home. Bluestar narrowed her eyes. I don't need reminding of what you did for WindClan, she meowed sharply, and Fireheart flinched. But you are right to be concerned, Bluestar went on. You and Graystripe may come to the gathering tonight. Thank you, Bluestar, Fireheart meowed. It'll be an interesting gathering, Bluestar warned him. RiverClan and ShadowClan have much to explain. Fireheart felt his ears twitch nervously, but he couldn't help feeling a thrill of excitement as well. Blue Star clearly meant to challenge Crooked Star and Night Star about their invasions into ThunderClan territory. He dipped his head respectfully to Blue Star and patted away. As he collected 2 voles for Brindleface from the fresh kill pile, Fireheart noticed Yellowfang trudging into camp. Her paws were muddy and her mouth was crammed with fat, knobby roots. Her search for comfy had clearly been successful. Fireheart carried the fresh kill over to the nursery. Brindleface was curled up inside feeding Cloudkit. The other kits had recently given up their mother's milk, and soon Cloudkit too would have his first taste of fresh kill. Brindleface looked up as he entered. Her eyes shadowed with concern. "I've just sent for Yellowfang," she mewed. Fireheart was instantly alarmed. "Is there something wrong with Cloudkit?" "He's been a little feverish today." Brindleface leaned down and licked the kid's head as he stopped feeding and began squirming restlessly. "It's probably nothing, but I thought I'd see what Yellowfang thought. I don't want to take any chances." Fireheart remembered that the Dappled Queen had recently lost a kit, and he hoped that she was just being overcautious. But Cloudfoot Kit did look uncomfortable. "I'll come to see you after the gathering," he promised. He ducked out of the nursery and headed back to the pile of fresh kill to pick out his own food. Brindleface's news had spoiled his appetite, but he knew he should eat something before the journey to the 4 trees tonight. Longtail and Dustpaw were already standing over the pile. Fireheart sat down and waited for them to leave. "Haven't seen the Cloud Chick today," meowed Longtail. Fireheart felt a familiar ripple of frustration at Longtail's snide comment. He's probably realized how silly he looks and decided to hide in the nursery. Meowed Dustpaw. "I'd like to be there when he tries hunting for the first time. They'll probably spot him coming from a tree's length away with all that white fluff," Longtail sneered. "Unless they mistake him for a puffball mushroom." Dustpaw whisker twitched as he threw a sideways glance at Fireheart. Fireheart flattened his ears and looked away. He watched Yellowfang hurry into the nursery with a mouthful of feverfew. Unfortunately, Longtail and Dustpaw noticed too. "Looks like Kitty Pet's caught a chill. What a surprise," meowed Longtail. "Golden Flower's right. He wouldn't last through Leaf Bear." The tabby warrior turned and stared at Fireheart, waiting for a reaction, but Fireheart ignored him and walked over to the pile of fresh kill. He chose a thrush and carried it away to eat, feeling drained by the endless bite. Graystrip was sharing his meal with Running Wing by the nettle clump. "Hi! Did you have a good hunt?" Graystrip called as Fireheart passed. "Yeah, thanks," Fireheart replied. Graystripe didn't look up. "Bluestar said you could go to the gathering," he told Graystripe. "I know." "Oh, I know," Graystripe answered, still chewing. "Are you going?" Fireheart turned to Running Wing. "You bet. I wouldn't miss this one for anything." Fireheart padded on and found a quiet spot at the edge of the clearing. Longtail's words echoed in his head. Would the clan ever accept the little white kit? Fireheart closed his eyes and began to wash himself. As he turned to lick his side, his whiskers were brushed against something. He opened his eyes to find Sandpaw standing beside him. Her orange pelt glowed silver beneath the rising moon. "Thought you might like some company," she mewed. She sat down and began to wash Fireheart's bath with long, soothing strokes. Through half-closed eyes, Fireheart caught a glimpse of Dustpaw staring from the outside of the apprentice den, unable to disguise his heavy envy and amazement. Dustpaw wasn't the only one surprised by Sandpaw's gesture. Fireheart hadn't expected such friendliness from the fiery young she-cat, but her warmth was welcome, and he wasn't going to question it. "You going to the gathering?" he asked. Sandpaw paused. "Yeah, you?" "Yes, I think Bluestar's going to challenge Crooked Star and Night Star about their hunting." He waited for Sandpaw to reply, but she was staring up at the darkened sky. "I wish I were going as a warrior," she murmured. Fireheart tensed, but for once there was no hint of jealousy or bitterness in her mew. Fireheart felt awkward. He knew his training had started after Sandpaw's, and he had been a warrior for more than 2 moons already. "It can't be long until Bluestar gives you your warrior name," he meowed, trying to sound encouraging. "Why do you think it's taking so long?" Sandpaw asked, turning her pale green eyes to Fireheart. "I don't know," he admitted. "Bluestar's been ill, and there's RiverClan and ShadowClan causing trouble. I guess she's got other things on her mind." "You'd think she'd need warriors more than ever," meowed Sandpaw. Fireheart felt a stab of sympathy. I suppose she's just waiting for the right time. He knew it didn't sound very helpful, but it was all he could think of. Maybe by New Leaf. Sandpaw sighed. When do you think you'll get a new apprentice? Bluestar hasn't said anything yet. Perhaps she'll give you Cloudkit when he's old enough. I hope so. Fireheart stared across the clearing at the nursery, wondering if Yellowfang had finished treating Cloudkit. If he makes it that far. Of course he'll make it, Sandpaw meowed confidently. But he has a fever. Fireheart let his shoulders sag with worry. All kits get fevers, Sandpaw retorted. With his thick fur, he'll recover in no time. That coat's going to be handy in Leaf Bear, perfect for hunting in the snow. The prey'll never see him coming, and he'll be able to stay out twice as long as Thin Pelt's like Longtail. Fireheart purred and felt himself relax. Sandpaw had lifted his spirits again. He stood up and gave her a brisk lick on the head. Come on, he meowed. Bluestar's calling for the cats at the gathering. They joined the other cats beside the camp entrance, a silent, purposeful group. Bluestar signaled them with a flick of her tail and led them down the growth tunnel and out of the ravine. The forest glistened in the cold moonlight as they sprinted towards the 4 trees. A cloud of breath billowed from Fireheart's muzzle, and the forest floor felt frozen beneath his paws. For the first time since Fireheart had joined the clan, Bluestar didn't hesitate at the ridge above the 4 trees to prepare herself for the meeting. Instead, her cats followed the leader wordlessly as she plunged straight down into the slope and into the clearing. Dun 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 dun! Meow 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 meow. This maple candy is actually helping my throat. Okay. Chapter 23. I love warriors. I dream about it all the time. Chapter 23. River Clan and Shadow Clan had not yet arrived, but Wind Clan was already there. Tallstar greeted Bluestar with a respectful nod. Fireheart spotted One Whisker and bounded over to meet him. Hi, he meowed. It had been over 2 moons since he'd seen the small brown tabby warrior who had battled beside him at the gorge. For the first time in ages, Fireheart recalled Whiteclaw's death and felt the familiar bristle of horror as he pictured the River Clan warrior disappearing beneath the rushing river. Where's Greystripe? One Whisker asked. Is he okay? Fireheart could see from the concern in his eyes the Wind Clan warrior was thinking about Whiteclaw's death too. He's fine, Fireheart answered. He's over there with the others. Fireheart remembered the Wind Clan Clean whose kit he'd helped carry. How's Morning Flower? Happy to be home, replied One Whisker. Her kit is growing quickly now. Fireheart purred with pleasure. The whole clan is well, One Whisker added. He glanced at Fireheart with an amused gleam in his eyes. It's great to eat rabbit again. I hope I never have to taste another rat as long as I live. Fireheart detected a fresh scent on the night air. River Clan was coming. He could smell Shadow Clan too. He scanned the ridge that ran around the edge of the hollow. Sure enough, River Clan cats were streaming down one side. On the opposite ridge, Fireheart saw Shadow Clan cats poised at the top, their coats gleaming in the moonlight. The lean figure of Nightstar stood at the head of the group. At last, growled One Whisker. He'd spotted them as well. It's too cold to be hanging around tonight. Fireheart nodded absently. He was searching the crowd of River Clan cats as they entered the clearing, looking for a silver stream. He recognized the pale gray she-cat easily. She skidded to a halt at the bottom of the slope, and then followed her father as he exchanged reserved greetings with the warriors from the other clans. Nervously, Fireheart scanned the growing throng of cats for Greystripe. Would he dare speak to Silverstream tonight? The Grey Warrior had his back to Silverstream while he talked with the Wind Clan warrior. Fireheart was watching Greystripe so closely that he didn't hear Deadfoot approach. Good evening, Fireheart, meowed the Wind Clan deputy. How are you? Fireheart turned. Hello, he meowed. I'm fine, thank you. Deadfoot nodded. Good, he meowed, and limped away. One Whisker gave Fireheart a friendly nudge. You're privileged. Fireheart felt a small glimmer of pride. Bluestar yowls sounded from the great rock. Fireheart turned and looked up, surprised. The leaders didn't usually call the meeting so soon. Crooked Star and Night Star were standing close together on the rock. Blue Star waited beside Tall Star for the cats to join beneath them. It was the first time Fireheart had seen the Wind Clan leader at the gathering, he realized with a jolt. Fireheart and One Whisker followed the other cats as they settled themselves beneath the rock. Fireheart looked up expectantly, waiting for Blue Star to welcome Tall Star and Wind Clan back, but the ThunderClan leader was clearly in no mood to waste time on friendly words. RiverClan has been hunting at Sunning Rocks, she began angrily. Our patrols have scented your warriors many times, Crooked Star. Sunning Rocks belongs to ThunderClan. Crooked Star met Blue Star's gaze steadily. Have you forgotten how recently one of our warriors was killed defending our territory from ThunderClan? You had no need to defend your territory, Blue Star answered. My warriors were not hunting there. They were returning home after finding Wind Clan. It was a mission we all agreed on. According to the warrior code, they should not have attacked. You speak of the warrior code, spat Crooked Star. What about the ThunderClan warrior who has been spying on our territory since then? Blue Star was caught off guard. Warrior? She echoed. Have you seen him? Not yet, Crooked Star hissed, but we find his scent so often it won't be long before we do. Fireheart glanced at Graystripe in alarm. He knew only too well which warrior had been detected in Crooked Star's territory. Would any of the RiverClan warriors recognize his scent tonight? Graystripe sat motionless, not taking his eyes off the leaders of the Great Rock. Tiger Claw's deep growl sounded from the crowd. We have scented ShadowClan in our territory as well as RiverClan this past moon, and not just one warrior, but a whole patrol. Always the same cats. The ShadowClan leader's eyes flashed indignantly. ShadowClan has not been in your territory. Clearly your warriors can't tell the difference in the scents of cats outside their own clan. You have been smelling the scent of rogue cats. They have been stealing prey from our territory as well. Tigerclaw snorted in disbelief, and Nightstar glared down at him. Do you doubt the word of ShadowClan, Tigerclaw? The crowd murmured uncomfortably as Tigerclaw stared back at Nightpelt with unconcealed distrust. Tigerclaw snored. For the first time, Tallstar spoke, his tail twitching uncertainly. My warriors have also found strange scents in Wind Clan territory. They seem to be ShadowClan. I knew it, Tigerclaw snarled. RiverClan and ShadowClan have united against us. Us? What do you mean by us? Spat Crooked Star. I think it's you and Wind Clan that have formed the alliance. Is that why you were so keen to bring them back? So you can use them to invade the rest of the forest? Tallstar's fur bristled. That's not why we returned, and you know it. We have kept our own hunting grounds these past moons. Then why have we found strange warrior scents in our territory? Crooked Star growled. They don't belong to Wind Clan, hissed Tallstar. They must be rogue cats, as Nightstar says. But rogue cats would be a convenient excuse for invading our territories, would they not? Blue Star murmured. She stared dangerously at RiverClan and ShadowClan leaders. Crooked Star raised his hackles and Nightstar arched his back. With a flash of alarm, Fireheart saw Tigerclaw stand up and stalk towards the Great Rock, every muscle tensed. Would the leaders really fight at a gathering? At that moment, a shadow fell over the valley. The cats felt silence as they were plunged into blackness. Fireheart looked up, trembling. A cloud had covered the full moon, completely blocking out its light. StarClan has sent the darkness! Oh, that was an old person. StarClan has sent the darkness! Fireheart recognized the meow of Halftail, a ThunderClan elder. The ShadowClan medicine cat yowled in agreement. StarClan is angry. These meetings are meant to be held in peace. Runny Nose is right, it was Yellowfang. We shouldn't be fighting among ourselves, especially during Leaf Bear. We should be worrying about keeping our clan safe. Her voice echoed in the frightening silence. We must listen to StarClan. What clan would y'all like to be in? I'd personally like to be in River Clan. Thunder Clan, just not a leader or deputy. Yeah, I think I would rather be River Clan or Thunder Clan. Shadow Clan. Shadow Clan is tough because I think I would like their forest. I mean, their hunting grounds, if not for the pine trees. Because it's so open, you know? Like, pine trees don't grow foliage really close to the base of their trunks, you know? They're not evil, they're just misunderstood. True. Shadow Clan isn't evil. And everyone who says otherwise is wrong. They also live in a more marshy area and closer to two legs. True. Marshy. Wind Clan is... I like Wind Clan as like a clan. You know, like as a clan, I like Wind Clan, but I don't think I could live in their territory because it's just wide open fields of grass and stuff. Like, it would feel so exposing. I can't even live like that now. You can receive wet food and head pats. Pappy, do you just want to be a kitty pet? I suppose you could be like a loner who walks around and probably gets pet by by people, but doesn't get all dramatized. I like the Plantius, the Wa'a. Ew, a kitty pet! With a Shadow Clan member that moonlights as a kitty pet. Oh snap. Twitch Warrior Cat RP session when. Could you imagine? Like what's it called? One of those, like a Pathfinder thing, but it's like warrior cats. I mean, I would do it. 100%. VR cats, warriors. Roblox has a really good warrior cat world. You would be a car. That's very dangerous. You would be a monster. That's what they're called, monsters. People donate to have a random meeting. Warrior Cat Space Station 13 server? What's Space Station 13 server? Apparently the Roblox Warrior Cat world has so much drama surrounding how people choose their name in warriors. Really? I didn't know that. I've been in it, but I was a rogue. So I wasn't like detailed. There's a Roblox game for warrior cats? Yeah, it's really incredible. You have so much customization for your cats, and they all have like unique animations. It's really nice. I too was a rogue. Yeah, maybe we met. We crossed paths in Roblox Warrior Cats. Nono's Carnival Warrior Cat Roblox one. It's a meetup. All of us meet. We're the Carnival clan. My name was Briar. I don't know about yours. I can't remember what I named myself. Okay. Chapter 24. When did you play that? I think I only played it twice, actually. I did it because I was curious. And I was a rogue, and I wanted to, like, break into all the houses. Run away when they try to pet me like a proper cat. True. Clown Clan. I have like the smallest sliver of this hard candy left, but if I bite it, I know it'll get stuck in my teeth. But it's gonna take, you know, and it's like nothing. Juice wants to be part of... No, not Juice. Pappy wants to be a Shadow Clan cat. But sneak away. Betray the warrior code. He wants that life. I don't want to get caught. True. Chapter 24. A tall star spoke up, a dim silhouette on the top of the great rock. This gathering is over by the will of Star Clan. The crowd murmured in agreement. The air was thick in the sense of fear and hostility. Come, Thunder Clan. Fireheart could barely see Blue Star as she leaped down from the great rock and headed for the edge of the clearing. He pushed his way through the other cats and hurried after her. He saw the massive outline of Tiger Claw as the deputy fell in step beside his leader, and the pale gray shapes of only the other ThunderClan cats as they gathered behind the two great warriors. No cat spoke as they trekked solemnly up the slope towards home. Fireheart glanced over his shoulder. The other clans were withdrawing too. By the time he reached the top of the slope, Four Trees was deserted. The clan ran silently through the forest, following the familiar scent-line trail. Fireheart spotted Greystripe at the back as he slowed his pace. Maybe Greystripe would be more prepared to talk about Silverstream now that it was clear how tense things were between the clans. His scent had been detected in RiverClan territory. Greystripe was putting himself and the clan in danger with the secret meetings. Fireheart searched for the right words, but Greystripe hissed first. I know what you're gonna say, and I won't stop seeing her. You're a mouse-brained fool, Fireheart spat back. They'll soon work out it's you. Bluestar will guess. Or some cat from RiverClan will recognize your scent. Tiger Claw's probably guessed already. Greystripe shot Fireheart an anxious glance. Do you really think so? I don't know, Fireheart admitted, relieved to hear a note of fear in Greystripe's voice. Greystripe had been acting as if he had no idea what might happen if the clan found out about his affair. But once he starts thinking about it... Okay, spat Greystripe. He was silent for a moment. What if I promise we'll meet only at Four Trees? That way our scent will be hard to detect, and I won't have to go into RiverClan territory. Will you leave me alone then? Fireheart felt his heart sink. Greystripe was not going to give up Silverstream that easily. Then he nodded. This had to be better than creeping into hostile clan territory to see her. Satisfied? Greystripe's eyes flashed in the gloom, but his voice sounded shaky. Fireheart felt a pang of regret for their lost friendship, and a rush of sympathy for the Grey Warrior. He stretched his head forward to nuzzle Greystripe's flank, but Greystripe ran on ahead, leaving Fireheart alone at the back of the group. Yeah, he is! He's been sneaking around! He has a lover! It's the cat that saved his life. Understandable. I mean, if a beautiful lady saved my life, I too would fall for her. Where are we at? See, even though the cats were tired from the journey, Bluestar called a meeting as soon as they were home. Most of the clan was still awake anyway. The gathering had been shorter than usual, and the sun and cloud cover had alarmed even the cats left in the camp. While Bluestar and Tiger Claw settled themselves on the high rock, Fireheart hurried over to the nursery. He wanted to know how Cloudkit was. He poked his head through the entrance. It was pitch black and warm inside. Hello, Fireheart, Brindleface whispered, a faint shadow shifting in the gloom. Cloudkit's much better. Yellowfin gave him fever flu. It was just a chill. The queen sounded relieved. What happened at the gathering? StarClan sent clouds to cover the moon. Bluestar's called it a meeting. Can you come? Fireheart listened to Brindleface sniffing her kids. Yes, I think I can, she answered finally. My kids will sleep for a while. Fireheart withdrew his head, and together they joined the cats gathered in the clearing. Fireheart felt fur brush against him, and Cinderpaw glanced up at him with wide, worried eyes. Bluestar had already begun. The greatest threat seems to be from RiverClan and ShadowClan. We must be prepared for the possibility that these two clans have united against us. Shocked meows rippled through the clan. Do you really think they've joined together? Yellowfin rasped. RiverClan has the best beasts of prey, but I can't imagine they'd want to share with ShadowClan. Fireheart remembered Silverstream's words about RiverClan's hunger after the two-leg invasion, but he held his tongue, fearful that Bluestar would want to know where he had heard such a story. They don't deny it, Tigerclub pointed out. Bluestar nodded. Whatever the truth, we must be on full alert. From tonight, each patrol will have 4 cats, at least 3 of them warriors. The patrols will be more frequent, 2 each night and 1 during the day, as well as the dawn and dusk patrols. We must put a stop to RiverClan and ShadowClan's raids on our territory, and since they have chosen to ignore our words, we must be prepared for a fight. The clan yowled in agreement. Fireheart joined in, even though he was worried about what this open hostility might mean for Greystripe. He looked around at the other cats. He could all see their eyes shining, except for Greystripe's. The Grey Warrior sat with his head bowed in the shadows at the edge of the clearing. When the noise died away, Bluestar spoke again. The first patrol will leave before dawn. She jumped down from the high rock. Tigerclaw followed, and the rest of the clan broke up into smaller groups. Fireheart could hear them murmuring nervously as he padded to the warrior's den. Fireheart settled into his nest, kneading the moss with his paws to make it comfortable. An owl hooted at the top of the ravine. He knew he would not sleep yet. His mind was racing with the accusations that had flown around at the gathering. He understood RiverClan's anger. They had picked up the scent of ThunderClan in their territory, and they were hungry now that their prey had been depleted by the two-leg invasion. But what about ShadowClan? It was smaller since ThunderClan had helped them chase out the tyrannical former leader and his band of followers. Broken Star had even admitted to killing Ragged Star, his own father, to become a clan leader. Okay, pause. What if it's Broken Star and his band of followers? That would make sense, that they smell like ShadowClan, but they're rogues. Poor George. Cat, is that a reference to Warrior Cat MMV? Because if so, I mean animatic, because if so, I've seen it. I have seen it. Anyways. I'll take a shower, so you have to tell me what I missed. Okay! I am the Russian and the Winter Wisdom. Hi! Thank you for the follow! After a while, wouldn't they lose the ShadowClan son? True. But maybe it's like... I mean, if it's like their blood, you know, maybe they would... You like some wisdom? Sure. Is it about cats? Where are we? No! Not about cats! Oh my gosh. Aha! Cat facts. All cats have 3 sets of hairs that are sensitive to pressure. Whiskers, eyebrows, and the hairs between their paw pads. Whoa! Cat fact. Owning a cat is actually proven to be beneficial for your health. So true. That one I can confirm. Okay. You're allergic? No! That's so sad. I'm so sorry for your loss. The clan had been left in peace to recover from Broken Star's bloody rule, and Fireheart couldn't help thinking that, with fewer mouths to feed, ShadowClan had no need to raid ThunderClan's hunting grounds or anyone else's. 3 because you didn't quote anything. Added by Chew. Undertale. What was I saying that to? Did you cats when I was younger, but I said no and got cats anyway, and now I don't have allergies anymore. Wow, you guys are strong. Yeah, 3 is the number of quote, but I don't know what I was saying because you didn't quote anything. Oh, I was talking about you guys quoting, I think. Oh no, no wisdom quotes about cat. That's okay. My pollinatry has been killing me since I was a kid. Yeah, mine is pretty bad too. But at least I don't get nosebleeds anymore. Okay, give me a human quote. And then we'll continue. I can use this break to drink water. I know. Gotcha. Wise man can learn more from a foolish question than a fool can learn from a wise answer. A wise answer. That's true. That kind of like falls in my belief that it's good to fail at things because you learn more from failing than you do from not failing. Okay, let's go. Where was I? As he puzzled over these thoughts, Whitestorm and Darkstripe pushed their way into the den. Before Whitestorm went into his nest, he stopped beside Fireheart. You're to join me with Sandpaw and Mousefur on the patrol at Sunhigh, he meowed. Yes, Whitestorm, Fireheart answered, before resting his chin on his paws. He had to get some sleep. His clan needed him to be fit and ready to fight. The clouds that had covered the moon had rolled away by the next morning. Fireheart enjoyed the faint warmth of the sun on his back as he washed himself in the clearing. Cloudkit jumped out of the nursery entrance opposite him, looking bright and happy. Fireheart thanked StarClan that he had recovered so quickly. Sandpaw had been right about the kit's resilience. He looked around to see if Longtail and Dustpaw were here to see it too, but the clearing was empty. Fireheart crossed over to the nursery. Hi, Cloudkit, he meowed. Feeling better? Yep, squeaked Cloudkit. He spun around in a circle, grasping for his tail with his tiny jaws. A small ball of moss that had been sticking from his fur rolled off along the ground. Cloudkit leaped on it and pawed it into the air. It bounced onto the ground beside Fireheart. Fireheart knocked it back towards the kit, and Cloudkit sprang up to catch it in his teeth. Well done! Fireheart was impressed. With one paw, he scooped the moss ball high into the air, sending it flying across the clearing. Cloudkit raced after the moss and grabbed it. He rolled onto his back, threw the ball up with his forepaws, and kicked it away with his hind legs. It landed next to the nursery. Cloudkit scrambled up and scooted after it. He crouched a rabbit leaped away. His hindquarters bunched into the air. Fireheart watched as the kit prepared to pounce. Suddenly, his fur prickled. A long, dark foreleg was reaching towards the moss ball from behind the nursery. Cloudkit! Fireheart called, Wait! Shadowy images of rogue cats were still fresh in his mind. Cloudkit sat up and looked around him, puzzled. Tigerclaw emerged from behind the kitten, holding the moss ball between his teeth. He carried the ball over to the kit and dropped it by Cloudkit's fluffy white paws. Be careful, he growled. You wouldn't want to lose such a precious plaything. As he spoke, the Dark Warrior stared at Fireheart over Cloudkit's head. What the weirdo? Fireheart shivered. What did Tigerclaw mean by that? He seemed to be talking about the moss ball. But did he really mean Cloudkit was a plaything? An image of Cinderpaw flashed into Fireheart's mind. A wounded huddle beside the Thunderpath. Was that another plaything he had lost? A cold feeling of dread seeped into his heart as once more he wondered if the ThunderClan deputy was somehow responsible for his apprentice's accident. What a weirdo. You wouldn't want to lose such a precious plaything? What the... Tigerclaw, you're such a Freaky guy. Gabagoo! You're eating yourself? Oh my goodness. Chapter 25. Cloudkit! Fireheart heard Brindleface calling from inside the nursery. Tigerclaw turned and padded away. Cloudkit gave the moss ball a final shove and ran towards the nursery entrance. Bye, Fireheart, he mewed before disappearing inside. Fireheart looked up at the sky. It was almost sun-high. No time to join his patrol. He was hungry, but no fresh kill had been gathered yet. Perhaps he might find something while they were out. He hurried across the clearing and out through the gorse tunnel, frozen leaves crunching beneath his paws. Sandpaw and Mousefur were already waiting at the foot of the slope. Fireheart raised his tail in greeting, unexpectedly happy to see Sandpaw. Hi, meowed Sandpaw. Mousefur nodded at him. Whitestorm emerged from the gorse tunnel.
Is the Dawn Patrol back yet?
No sign of them, answered Mousefur. But as she spoke, Fireheart heard the rustle of the undergrowth above them. Out of the bushes came Willowpelt, Running Wing, Darkstripe, and Dustpaw. We've patrolled the entire RiverClan border, Willowpelt reported. No sign of hunting parties so far. Blue Star's patrol will check the area again this afternoon.
Good, replied Whitestorm. We'll take ShadowClan border.
Hopefully they'll have the same good sense as RiverClan and stay away, meowed Darkstripe. After last night, they must know we'll be looking out for them.
I hope so,
growled Whitestorm. He turned to his patrol.
Are you ready?
Fireheart nodded. Whitestorm flicked the tip of his tail and leaped away into the bracken. Fireheart followed Mousefur and Whitestorm. They kept up a fast pace as they climbed out of the ravine. Sandpaw was right behind Fireheart. He felt her warm breath as she scrambled up the boulders. They had not even reached Snake Rock when Fireheart picked up a sinister, familiar scent. He opened his mouth to warn the others, but Mousefur spoke first. ShadowClan! The four cats stopped to smell the rank stench. I can't believe they've already come back, Sandpaw murmured. Fireheart noticed the fur quiver along her spine.
The scent is recent.
Whitestorm's eyes glittered with fury.
I had hoped Nightstar might bring some honor to his clan, but I suppose the cold winds beyond the Thunderpath blow over every ShadowClan's heart.
Fireheart turned away and began pushing his way into a thick patch of bracken. He rubbed his teeth along the fronds to pick up the scent that hung there. It was ShadowClan, all right. The smell was familiar. Very familiar. Fireheart paused. The scent belonged to a ShadowClan warrior he had encountered before, but which one? Fireheart pushed onward, hoping more scent markings might jog his memory. Now he could smell something else. Fireheart looked down. On the ground, among the bracken stems, lay a pile of rabbit bones. Clan cats normally buried the bones of their prey as a sign of respect for the life they had taken. Suddenly aware of what this might mean, Fireheart picked up a mouthful and wove back through the bracken. He dropped them at Whitestorm's paws. Whitestorm stared at the bones in fury.
Rabbit bones. The warriors who let these want us to know they've been hunting on our land. Blue Star must know about this immediately.
Will she send a battle party against ShadowClan? Asked Fireheart. He had never seen Whitestorm so angry.
She should, hissed the white warrior. And I'll eat it myself if I can. Nightstar has betrayed our trust, and StarClan knows he must be punished.
Blue Star! Whitestorm flung the rabbit bones down in the middle of the clearing.
Blue Star's already left on patrol,
Tigerclaw told him, stepping out from the shadows. Halftail and Frostfur came hurrying over from their dens to find out what was going on. Whitestorm stared at Tigerclaw, still furious.
Look at these,
he spat. Tigerclaw didn't need to be told what they meant. The scent carried the whole story. His eyes began to burn with anger. Fireheart hung back at the edge of the clearing and watched the two great warriors. The evidence was clearly ominous, but the discovery of the bones had filled his mind with questions, not anger. It was only 3 moons since ShadowClan had driven out their cruel leader with the help of ThunderClan. How could that same clan possibly be ready to risk war with ThunderClan? Tigerclaw clearly had no such doubts. Already he was calling Darkstripe and Running Wing to him.
Willowpet and Mousefur will join us too, he announced. We'll find a Shadow Clan patrol and leave them the same wounds that'll remind them to keep out of our territory in the future.
Whitestorm nodded. Can I come? Senpa meowed. She had been pacing excitedly behind the White Warrior. Now she stopped and looked at him with glittering eyes.
Not this time,
Whitestorm told her. Frustration flickered across her face. But what about Fireheart? She meowed. He found the bones.
Tigerclaw narrowed his eyes, his hackle raised. Fireheart can stay here and tell Bluestar when she arrives, he hissed contemptuously.
Gonna leave before she gets back? Fireheart asked.
Of course. This needs to be settled now.
He turned to Whitestorm and flicked his tail. Fireheart watched as the two warriors charged out of camp, Darkstripe, Willowpelt, Running Wing, and Mousefur close behind. He could hear their paws pounding the frozen earth as they headed for the side of the ravine. Fireheart was suddenly aware how empty the camp was. As Frostfur and Halftail came forward and began sniffing the rabbit bones, he meowed. Who went with Bluestar? Frostfur looked up. Graystripe, Longtail, and Swiftpaw. A cold wind ruffled Fireheart's fur. He hoped that was what made him shiver. He was the only warrior left in camp. Will you check the apprentice den to see if Dustpaw's there? Fireheart asked Sandpaw. She nodded, bounding across the clearing and poked her head into the den. He's there, she called back, ducking out again. Asleep, with Breaking Paw. Yellowfin came padding out of her den and lifted her head. Fireheart relaxed a little at the familiar sight of the old medicine cat. He narrowed his eyes, ready to greet her, but as Yellowfin tasted the air, her eyes clouded with fear. With slow, stiff step, she approached the rabbit bones and carefully sniffed each one. Fireheart watched her, wondering why she was so interested in the old bones. At last, she looked up and stared into Fireheart's eyes. Broken Star, she rasped in a voice choked with horror. I knew it! Broken Star, Fireheart echoed. Then it hit him. That's why the scent in the bracken had been so familiar. It was Broken Star's scent. Are you sure? He meowed urgently. Tigerclaw has already left for ShadowClan territory. ShadowClan isn't to blame for this, cried Yellowfang. This is Broken Star and his old warrior friends. I was ShadowClan Medicine Cat. I was there at their kidding. I know their scents as well as my own. She paused. You must find Tigerclaw and stop him. He will be making a terrible mistake if he attacks them. The blood roared in Fireheart's ears, making him dizzy. What should he do? But I'm the only warrior left. He meowed breathlessly at Yellowfang. What if Broken Star attacks the camp while I'm gone? He's done it before. He might have left the bones as a trap, so our camp is left unguarded. You must tell Tigerclaw before he... Yellowfang pleaded, but Fireheart shook his head. I can't leave you alone. Then I shall go, Yellowfang hissed. No, I'll go, meowed Sandpaw. Fireheart looked from one cat to the other, but he couldn't afford to send either. Their strength and training were needed here to protect the clan. But Yellowfang was right. Innocent blood couldn't be shed. Broken Star was an invader here. ThunderClan had no quarrel with ShadowClan. He would have to send another cat. He closed his eyes and thought hard. The answer came in a moment. Brigandpaw! Fireheart hissed, opening his eyes wide. He called the apprentice's name out loud. The young cat pushed his way out of the den and padded across the clearing towards Fireheart. What is it? He asked, blinking the sleep from his eyes. I have an urgent mission for you, Fireheart told him. Brigandpaw shook himself and stood taller. Yes, Fireheart, he mewed. You must find Tigerclaw. He's taken a raiding party to attack ShadowClan patrol. Stop him and tell him that it was Broken Star who had been invading our territory. Breaking-Paw's eyes widened with alarm, but Fireheart went on. You might have to cross the Thunderpath. I know you haven't been trained. Images of Cinderpaw's broken body flashed in Fireheart's mind, but he forced them away. He looked deep into Breaking-Paw's eyes. You must find Tigerclaw, he repeated, or there will be a war between the clans for no reason. Breaking-Paw nodded, his eyes calm and filled with purpose. I'll find him, the tabby apprentice promised. May StarClan go with you, Fireheart murmured, reaching forward to touch Breaking-Paw's flank with his nose. Breaking-Paw turned and sprinted out through the gorse tunnel. Fireheart watched him go, struggling to keep calm. Cinderpaw, the Thunderpath, the images that kept flashing back. Fireheart shook his head to clear it. There was no time to worry now. If Broken Star was in ThunderClan territory, the camp had to prepare for an attack. What's happening? Dustpaw had emerged from the apprentice's den. Fireheart glanced at him.
ran to the head of the clearing and scrambled up to the high rock. The clearing seemed a long way down below his trembling legs. He swallowed hard and began the customary call. "Let old clan old enough!" But the words were taking too long. "The clamp is in danger! Come here now!" he yelled urgently. The elders and queens rushed from their dens, followed by their kits. They looked bewildered when they saw Fireheart at the top of the high rock. Cinderpaw limped out of the fern tunnel and looked up at Fireheart with a strong, bright gaze. When Fireheart saw her, the camp suddenly stopped, swaying beneath him.
"What's going on?"
demanded One Eye, the oldest ThunderClan cat.
"What do you think you're doing up there?"
Fireheart didn't hesitate. Broken Star is back. He might be in ThunderClan territory right now. All our other warriors are out of camp. If Broken Star attacks, we must be ready. Kids and elders stay in the nursery. And the rest of you must be ready to fight. A menacing yowl from the camp entrance cut short Fireheart's speech. A lean, dark brown tabby with matted fur and torn ears stood at the camp entrance. His bristling tail was bent in the middle like a broken branch. "Broken Star!" Fireheart gasped, instinctively unsheathing his claws as every hair on his body stood on end. 4 mangy warriors prowled in behind their leader, their eyes glittering with hatred.
"So you're the only warrior left,"
Broken Star hissed, his lips drawn back in a snarl.
"This will be easier than I thought."
The climax! It's coming! Yellowfang, Dustpaw, and Sandpaw rushed forward in a defensive row, and the queens lined up behind them. Fireheart saw Cinderpaw hobbling to join them, but Dustpaw spat angrily at the small gray cat as she neared, and Cinderpaw scrabbled clumsily away, ears flat, back to Yellowfang's den. "Aw, that's so mean!" Poor Cinderpaw. The elders grabbed the kits, bundled them into the nursery, and squeezed inside after them. Brindleface picked up Cloud Kid in her jaws and pushed him in last. She tugged at the brambles with her paws, ignoring the thorns, and covered the entrance before turning to join the rest of her clan in the clearing. Fireheart leaped down from the high rock and raced to Yellowfang's side. He arched his back and hissed at Broken Star. "You lost the last time we fought, and you'll lose again!"
"Never!"
Broken Star spat back.
"You might have taken my clan away from me, but you can't kill me. I have more lives than you."
"1 ThunderClan life is worth 10 of yours," Fireheart growled. He gave the warriors yowl, and the clearing exploded into battle. Fireheart leapt straight for Broken Star and grasped the dark tabby with his claws. Life as an outlaw had treated the former clan leader harshly. Fireheart could feel the ribs of the flea-bitten Tom beneath his fur, but Broken Star was still strong. He twisted around and sank his teeth into Fireheart's hind leg. Fireheart yowled and hissed with rage, but kept his grip. Broken Star struggled forward, scrabbling with his paws on the frozen ground. Fireheart felt his claws rankle along Broken Star's bony flanks as the rogue warrior ripped himself free. Fireheart lunged after him, but other claws were grasping at his hind leg. He looked over his shoulder to see who it was. Clawface crouched there, staring at Fireheart with narrow, mocking eyes. Fireheart looked back at him in disbelief. He had never expected to see this cat again. He forgot Broken Star instantly. It was Clawface who had killed Spotted Leaf 6 moons ago. He had murdered the ThunderClan of Medicine Cat in cold blood so that Broken Star could steal Frost for his kits. Rage roared in Fireheart's ears. As he twisted around, he threw himself on top of the scrawny brown Tom. Fireheart glimpsed a flash of the tortoiseshell fur out of the corner of his eyes, and the sweet scent of Spotted Leaf hit the roof of his mouth. He felt her spirit beside him. She had come to help him avenge her death. Fireheart hardly noticed the pain in his leg as he tore it free from Clawface's grasp and flew at him. The Tom reared up and flailed his wide front paws. Thorn-sharp claws caught Fireheart behind his ears. Pain ripped through him like fire, and he staggered. Clawface was on him in an instant, pinning Fireheart to the ground and sinking his teeth into the back of his neck. Fireheart screeched in agony. "Help me, Spotted Leaf! I can't do it!" Suddenly, the weight was wrenched off his back. Fireheart sprung to his paws and spun around. Graystripe! The gray warrior stood motionless, his eyes filled with horror. Clawface's body hung limply from his jaws. Graystripe opened his mouth, Clawface fell to the ground, dead. Fireheart took a step forward. He killed Spotted Leaf, Graystripe. There was no time for remorse. Is Blue Star with you? He went on urgently. Graystripe shook his head. She sent me back to fetch Tiger Claw, he replied. We found bones. Blue Star recognized Broken Star's stench and guessed he must be leading the road cats. A hiss sounded nearby, and 2 cats crashed into Fireheart. He leapt out of the way. It was Frostfur battling with another of the attacking cats. The queen was fighting with all her power of StarClan. These were the cats who had stolen her kits. Hate shone in her eyes as she struggled. Fireheart held himself back. Frostfur didn't want his help. A moment later, the rogue warrior was sent screeching away through the break-in camp wall. Cats don't really kill each other. Frostfur chased after him, but Fireheart called her back. You have given him enough wounds to remember you. The queen skipped to a halt by the break-in wall and turned, her sides heaving and her white fur stained with enemy blood. Another rogue warrior screeched past Fireheart and headed for the camp wall. Dustpaw chased after him and managed to give the molted tabby a fierce bite before he let him scrabble out of camp. Only Broken Star and 1 warrior left, Fireheart thought. Sandpaw had the rogue pinned to the ground. The Tom was lying motionless beneath her. Watch out! Thought Fireheart, remembering his favorite trick and letting the enemy think he had won. But Sandpaw was not deceived. When the Tom leaped to his paws, she was ready. She sprang off him and lunged, grasping the warrior with her claws to flip him over and rake his belly with her hind legs. Only then he squealed like a kid. Did she let him go? The rogue tore out of the camp entrance, still wailing. There was an eerie moment of stillness. The ThunderClan cat stood in silence and stared at the blood and fur that was scattered around the clearing. In the middle lay Clawface's body. Where was Broken Star? Fireheart spun around in alarm, scanning the camp. Could he have broken into the nursery? He was about to spring forward to the bramble den when a wretched howl from Yellowfing's den tore through the air. Fireheart tore across to the fern tunnel. Cinderpaw! He raced into the den, expecting the worst, but instead he saw Broken Star lying in a heap on the ground. The old medicine cat stood over him. Broken Star's eyes were closed and bloody. Fireheart saw his sides heave once and stop moving. He recognized from the deep stillness in the rogue warrior's body that Broken Star was losing a life. Yellowfing's claws were unsheathed and glistened red. His face was twisted and her eyes glazed. Her face was twisted and her eyes glazed. Suddenly, Broken Star gasped and began to breathe again. Fireheart waited for Yellowfing to lunge him with another killing bite, but she hesitated. Broken Star didn't get up. Fireheart ran to the medicine cat's side. Is this his last life? Why don't you finish him off? He urged. He murdered his father, banished you from his clan, and tried to kill you. It's not his last life, she rasped. And even if I were, I couldn't kill him. Why not? StarClan would honor you for it. Fireheart could not believe her words. The name Broken Star had always made the old she-cat bristle with rage. Yellowfang dragged her gaze from Broken Star and looked at Fireheart. Her eyes clouded with pain and grief as she murmured, He is my son. Fireheart felt the ground lurch under his paws. But medicine cats are forbidden from having kits, he blurted out. I know, answered Yellowfang. I never intended to have kits, but I fell in love with Ragged Star. Her voice was thick with sorrow. Suddenly, Fireheart thought back to the battle when Broken Star was driven out of the ShadowClan camp just before he fled. The cruel leader had told Yellowfang that he had murdered his father. Yellowfang had been devastated, but now Fireheart understood why. There were 3 kits in my litter, Yellowfang went on, but only Broken Star survived. I gave him to a ShadowClan queen to bring up as her own. I thought that losing my 2 kits was punishment from StarClan for breaking the warrior code, but I was wrong. My punishment wasn't that 2 of my kits died, it was that this one survived. Yellowfang looked in disgust at Broken Star's bleeding body, and now I cannot kill him. I must accept my fate, as StarClan wishes it. Yellowfang staggered, and Fireheart thought she was going to collapse. He pressed his body against her flank to support her and whispered, Does he know you're his mother? Yellowfang shook her head. Broken Star began to wail pitifully. I can't see! Fireheart realized with horror that the rogue cat's eyes had been scratched beyond repair. Fireheart cautiously approached him. Broken Star lay still. Fireheart poked him with a forepaw, and Yellowfang's son moaned again. Don't kill me, he whined. Fireheart backed away, feeling a shudder of revulsion at the warrior's fear. Yellowfang took a deep breath. I will see to him. She walked over to her wounded son, grasped him by the scruff of his neck, and dragged him to the nest that Patchpelt had left. Fireheart let her go. He wanted to check that Cinderpaw was all right. He caught sight of the dark shape moving inside the split rock where Yellowfang slept. Cinderpaw, he called. Cinderpaw poked her head out. Are you okay? Are the rogue cats gone? She whispered. Yes, except Broken Star. He's badly injured. Yellowfang seen to him. He waited for Cinderpaw's shocked reaction, but she shook her head slowly and stared at the ground. Are you okay? Fireheart repeated. I should have fought alongside you. Cinderpaw's voice was choked with shame. You would have been killed. That's what Dustpaw said. He told me to go hide with the kits. The small cat's eyes were full of despair. But I wouldn't have minded being killed. What good am I like this? I'm just a burden to this clan. Fireheart felt a thorn-sharp pang of pity. He searched for words to comfort her, but before he could speak, Yellowfang's raspy mew sounded from the break-in. Cinderpaw, she called. Fetch me some cobwebs, quickly. Cinderpaw turned at once and disappeared inside the rock, returning a moment later with one paw wrapped in a swath of cobwebs. As quickly as she could, she scrambled awkwardly over to Yellowfang and thrust the cobwebs inside the nest. Now get me some of that comfrey root, ordered Yellowfang, as Cinderpaw limped back to the split rock. Fireheart turned to leave. There was nothing more he could do here. He must find out how the rest of the clan was. Hardly any cat moved in the camp clearing. Fireheart padded straight to Dustpaw and meowed. Yellowfang is tending... sorry, I was doing a deep voice. Yellowfang is tending to Broken Star's wounds. Cinderpaw's helping her. He ignored Dustpaw's gasp of disbelief. Go and guard him. Dustpaw ran to the tunnel and disappeared inside. Fireheart went over to Greystripe. The Grey Warrior was still staring at Clawface's body. You saved my life, Fireheart murmured. Thank you. Greystripe lifted his gaze to Fireheart. I would give you my life for you, he replied simply. Feeling choked, Fireheart watched his friend turn and walk away. Perhaps their friendship was not over after all. The sound of paws pounding through the gorse tunnel broke into his thoughts. Bluestar came rushing into camp, followed by Longtail and Swiftpaw. Fireheart felt his shoulders droop with relief at the sight of his clan leader. She looked around at the blood-splattered clearing, her eyes wide, until her gaze rested on Clawface's body. Broken Star attacked, she meowed. Fireheart nodded. Is he dead? He's with Yellowfang, Fireheart answered, forcing the words in spite of his exhaustion. He's been wounded. His eyes... And the other rogue warriors, we chased them off. Are any of our clan badly hurt? Bluestar demanded, looking once more around the clearing. The cats shook their head. Good, she meowed. Sandpaw, Swiftpaw, take this body out of the camp and bury it. No elders need to be present. No rogue deserves to be buried with the honor of Star Clan ritual. Swiftpaw and Sandpaw began to drag Clawface towards the tunnel. Are the elders safe? Bluestar asked. They're in the nursery. Fireheart told her. As he spoke, a rustle sounded from the bramble den, and Halftail appeared, followed by the other kits and elders. Fireheart saw Cloudkit tumble out and scamper excitedly across the clearing to Brindleface. She greeted him with a brisk lick, and the kit turned to watch Clawface's body as it disappeared away through the tunnel.
Is he dead?
Cloudkit asked curiously.
Can I go see?
Hush. Hush, whispered Brindleface, tucking her tail around him. Where's Tiger Claw? He's taken a party to attack Shadow Clan patrol, Fireheart explained. We found bones on our patrol. They smelled of Shadow Clan, so Tiger Claw decided to attack. I sent Brackenpaw to stop him when Yellowfang realized it was Broken Star's scent on him. Brackenpaw, meowed Bluestar, narrowing her eyes, even though he might have to cross the Thunder Path. I was the only warrior left in camp. There was no one else I could send. Bluestar nodded, the concern in her eyes giving way to understanding. You didn't want to leave the camp unguarded, she meowed. You did well, Fireheart. I think Broken Star hoped to lure all our warriors away from camp. We found bones too. Graystripe told me. Fireheart looked around for his friend, but Graystripe had disappeared. Send Yellowfang to me when she's finished with Broken Star, Bluestar ordered. She prickled her ears at the noise of more paws in the gorse tunnel. Tigerclaw came racing into the camp, followed by Whitestorm and the rest of the raiding party. Fireheart craned his neck to peer around the warriors until he saw Breaking-Paw right at the back. The young apprentice looked exhausted but unhurt. Fireheart let out a quiet sigh of relief. Did Breaking-Paw reach you before you found a patrol? Asked Bluestar, walking over to her deputy. We hadn't even entered their territory, Tigerclaw answered. We were just about to cross the Thunder Path. His eyes narrowed. Was that crossface they are burying? Bluestar nodded. Then Breaking-Paw was right, meowed the deputy. Broken Star was planning to attack the camp. Is he dead too? No. Yellowfang is tending to his wounds. Surely not, Mousefur exclaimed, exchanging a glance with Running Wing beside her. Tigerclaw's face darkened. Tending to his wounds, he snarled. We should kill him, not waste time making him better. We'll discuss this once I've spoken to Yellowfang, meowed Bluestar calmly. You can discuss it with me now, Bluestar. Yellowfang padded into the clearing, her head drooping with exhaustion. Have you left Broken Star alone? Growled Tigerclaw, his amber eyes flashing. Yellowfang raised her head and looked at the dark warrior. Dustpaw's guarding him, and I've given him poppy seed, so he'll sleep for a while. Broken Star is blind now, Tigerclaw. There's no way he'll try to escape. He'll die of hunger in a week if a fox or a gang of crows don't kill him first. Well, that makes it easier, Tigerclaw snarled. We won't have to kill him ourselves. We can let the forest deal with him. Yellowfang turned to Bluestar. We cannot let him die, she meowed. Why not? Fireheart held his breath as he watched the leader's eyes flick from Yellowfang to Tigerclaw and back again. He wondered if Yellowfang was going to tell Bluestar that Broken Star was her son. If we did, we would be no better than he is, replied Yellowfang calmly. Tigerclaw's tail flicked in anger. What do you think, Whitestorm? Bluestar meowed before Tigerclaw could speak. It will be a burden on our clan to look after him. Whitestorm answered thoughtfully. But Yellowfang is right. If we send him out in the forest or kill him in cold blood, StarClan will know we have stooped as low as he. Am I sleepy? No, I'm just not breathing enough. When I stepped forward, Bluestar, she meowed, in her croaky old voice. In the past, we have sometimes kept prisoners for many moons. We could do it again. Fireheart remembered that Yellowfang herself had been a prisoner when she first came to the camp. He waited for the medicine cat to remind Bluestar of this, but she said nothing. So you would really consider keeping this rogue inside our camp? Tigerclaw's eyes blazed with rage as he challenged his leader. With a pang, Fireheart couldn't help but agreeing with the Dark Warrior's words. The thought of killing Broken Star appalled him. He knew better than any of these cats what that would mean to Yellowfang, but Broken Star was a fearsome enemy, even without his sight. Keeping him in camp would be difficult and dangerous for all the members of the clan. Is he really blind? Bluestar asked Yellowfang. Yes, he is. Has he other wounds? Fireheart replied this time. I clawed him pretty badly, he admitted. He looked over to Yellowfang and was relieved when the old she-cat dipped her head just enough for him to know she forgave him for wounding her son. How long until they heal? Asked Bluestar. About a moon. Then you may nurse him till then. After that we will discuss his future again, and from now on he will be known as Broken Tail, not Broken Star. We cannot take away the lives StarClan gave him, but this cat is no longer a clan leader. Bluestar looked questioningly at Tigerclaw. His tail twitched, but he didn't speak. It is decided, Bluestar meowed. He stays. That doesn't sound like a good idea. Woo! Yeah, I don't yawn because I'm sleepy. I yawn because I haven't been breathing enough.
Whenever I guess or make predictions, I genuinely do not remember what happened. I didn't even remember that Broken Star invaded the camp. Genuinely. Be sure to deep inhale. I started yawning mid-inhaling. Fireheart limped over to the clump of nettles and began to lick... Chapter 27. Fireheart limped over to the clump of nettles and began to lick his wounds. He would go see Yellowfang later, when she had finished tending to the other cats. The weak rays of the setting sun threw long shadows across the clearing. Dustpaw had been relieved of his guard duty by Longtail. Tigerclaw had taken the rest of his unscathed raiding party out in search of a fresh kill. Fireheart's stomach growled. He looked up at the sound of paw steps, but it was only Sandpaw and Swiftpaw returning from their barrel duty. The two cats patted over Bluestar, who was sitting beneath the high rock with Whitestorm. Fireheart pushed himself to his paws and walked over to join them. With a flick of his tail, he beckoned to Dustpaw, who was licking his own scratches beside the tree stump. Dustpaw flashed him a doubtful look, but got up wearily and followed him. "We've buried Clawface," meowed Sandpaw. "Thank you," Bluestar replied. The ThunderClan leader looked directly at Swiftpaw. "You may go," and the black and white apprentice dipped his head and headed for his den. Fireheart signaled to Dustpaw again to come closer. The tabby apprentice narrowed his eyes and padded forward to stand beside Sandpaw. "Bluestar," Fireheart began hesitantly. "Sandpaw and Dustpaw fought like warriors when Broken Tail was attacked. We would have been in much more trouble without their strength and courage." Dustpaw's eyes widened, and Sandpaw looked at the ground as Fireheart spoke. A purr rumbled from Whitestorm's throat. "It's not like you to be shy," he meowed to his apprentice. Sandpaw's ears twitched uncomfortably. "Fireheart's the one who saved the clan," she burst out. "He was the one who alerted the camp, so we were ready for Broken Tail's attack." It was Fireheart's turn to feel embarrassed. He was relieved when Tigerclaw and the hunting party trotted into camp at that moment, carrying plenty of fresh kill. Bluestar nodded at Tigerclaw, then turned to face Dustpaw and Sandpaw. "It makes me proud to know that ThunderClan has such fine warriors," she meowed. "It is time you both took your warrior names. We shall be having a naming ceremony now, while the sun is setting, and then we can eat." Sandpaw and Dustpaw looked excitedly at each other. Fireheart lifted his chin and purred. Bluestar called, Thank you for the sub, the gift sub." Oh, where is it? Fireheart lifted his chin and purred. Bluestar called to the clan, and Fireheart felt even happier when he saw Greystripe appear from the warrior's den. He hadn't left camp after all. The clan gathered around the edge of the clearing. Elders and queens sat with the apprentices and kits on one side. Fireheart waited for the warriors, with the warriors on the other. He looked as Cloud Kit nestled beside Brindleface. The kit's eyes shone with excitement, and Fireheart felt a rush of pride that his kin kit could see him sitting with the clan warriors. Bluestar stood in the center with Sandpaw and Dustpaw. The last dark of sun glowed pink on the horizon. The clan waited silently as it dipped out of sight, leaving the darkened sky prickled with stars. Bluestar looked up and fixed her eyes on the brightest star in Silverpale. "I, Bluestar, leader of ThunderClan, call upon my warrior ancestors to look down at these two apprentices. They have trained hard to understand the ways of your code, and I commend them to you as warriors in their turn." She gazed down at the pair of young cats in front of her. "Sandpaw, Dustpaw, do you promise to uphold the warrior code and to protect and defend this clan, even at the cost of your life?" Sandpaw stared back, her eyes gleaming. "I do," she replied. Dustpaw echoed her words, his voice strong and low. "I do." "Then, by the powers of StarClan, I give you your warrior names. Sandpaw, from this moment on, you will be known as Sandstorm. StarClan honors your courage and your spirit, and we welcome you as a full warrior of ThunderClan." Bluestar stepped forward and rested her muzzle on top of Sandstorm's bowed head. Sandstorm licked Bluestar's shoulder respectfully before she turned and walked towards Whitestorm. She got her mentor's last thing. Whitestorm and Sandstorm. Fireheart saw her eyes flash proudly at her mentor as she settled down beside him in her new place with the warriors.
Bluestar turned her eyes to the dark brown tabby. Dustpaw, from this moment on you will be known as Dustpelt. StarClan honors your bravery and your honesty, and we welcome you as a full warrior of ThunderClan. She touched his head with her muzzle, and he too gave the leader's shoulder a respectful lick before joining the other warriors. The voices of the clan rose in tribute, sending clouds of misty breath into the night air. As one, they chanted the new warriors' names. Sandstorm, Dustpelt! Sandstorm, Dustpelt! In the tradition of our ancestors, meowed Bluestar, raising her voice, Sandstorm and Dustpelt must sit in silent vigil until dawn and guard the camp alone while we sleep. But before they begin their vigil, the clan will share a meal. It has been a long day, and we have reason to be proud of these cats who defended our camp against the rogues. Fireheart, StarClan thanks you for your courage. You are a great warrior, and I'm proud to count you as a member of my clan. The cats meowed again. A purr burst from Fireheart's throat as he looked around at his clan. Only Tiger Claw and Dustpelt eyed him with hostility, but for once he felt untouched by their jealousy. Bluestar had praised him, and that was enough. One by one, the cats stepped forward to take some of the fresh kill Tiger Claw's patrol had brought. Fireheart walked over to Sandstorm. We can eat together as warriors tonight, he meowed happily. If that's okay with you, he added. Sandstorm purred at him, and Fireheart felt a prickle of pleasure. Choose something for me, she called as Fireheart dashed away to the fresh kill pyre. I'm starving. Fireheart picked out a mouse for Sandstorm. He spelt it wrong. Fireheart picked out a mouse for Sandstorm, temptingly plump for Soleif and Leafbear. He took a blue tit for himself and turned to carry his catch back to Sandstorm. Then his heart sank. Dustpelt, Whitestorm, and Darkstripe had joined her. He'd become foolish to expect they would share their meal alone. This was the time for the whole clan to share together in celebration. The thought reminded Fireheart of Cinderpaw, and he looked around and realized that he hadn't seen her in the naming ceremony. She must still be in Yellowfang's clearing. He bounded over to Sandstorm and dropped the fresh kill beside her. I'll be back in 5 rabbit hops, he meowed. I want to take something to Cinderpaw. Sure, Sandstorm shrugged. Fireheart quickly collected a vole from the fresh kill pile and carried it across the clearing. He was surprised to see Yellowfang sitting in her den. She'd be at the naming ceremony, so she must have come straight back afterwards. I hope that's not for me, she growled as Fireheart approached. Oh, sorry. I hope that's not for me, she growled as Fireheart approached. I've already had my share. Fireheart dropped the bowl on the ground. I brought it for Cinderpaw, he answered. I thought she might want something. She wasn't at the naming ceremony. I've given her some mouse meat, but you're welcome to give her that as well. Fireheart looked around the fern-shaded clearing. Broken Star's brown fur was just visible through the stems of Patchpelt's old nest. The warrior was not moving. He's still asleep. Yellowfang's tone was brisk, the voice of a medicine cat rather than a mother. Fireheart couldn't help feeling relieved. He wanted to believe Yellowfang's loyalty still lied with ThunderClan. He picked up the vole and carried it to Cinderpaw's nest. Hey, Cinderpaw, he meowed softly into the bracken. The gray cat stirred and pushed herself to a sitting position. Fireheart! Fireheart stepped through the fronds and sat in the small space beside her. He dropped the vole at her paws. Here, he meowed. Yellowfang's not the only one trying to fatten you up. Thanks, Cinderpaw mewed, but she left the vole lying beside her paw and didn't even bend down to sniff it. Are you still thinking about that battle? Fireheart asked gently. Cinderpaw shrugged. I am just a burden, aren't I? She looked up at Fireheart with sad, round eyes. Who's a burden? Yellowfang Growl interrupted them as the old gray medicine cat poked her head into the nest. Are you upsetting my helper? She meowed at Fireheart. I don't know how I would have coped today if it hadn't been for this one. She looked warmly at Cinderpaw, her yellow eyes soft. I even had her mixing herbs this evening. Cinderpaw looked down shyly and dipped her head to take a bite of the vole. I think I might keep her with me a while longer, Yellowfang went on. She's becoming more useful every day. Besides, I'm getting used to her company. Cinderpaw glanced at the old medicine cat, a teasing glint in her eyes. Only because you're deaf enough to put up with my chattering. Yellowfang pretended to spit crossly at the young cat, and Cinderpaw added to Fireheart,
Well, that's what she keeps telling me anyways.
Fireheart was surprised to see a pang of envy at the close bond these two cats had developed. He'd always thought of himself as Yellowfang's only real friend in the clan, but now it looked like she had another. But at least Cinderpaw had somewhere to stay. If she couldn't train to be a warrior, she'd feel out of place in the apprentice's den. Fireheart stood up. It was time he went back to Sandstorm. Will you be okay here with Broken Tail? He asked. Yellowfang gave him a disdainful look. I think we can manage, don't you, Cinderpaw?
He wouldn't dare cause trouble, she agreed confidently. And Longtail's here to help.
Yellowfang ducked her head out of the nest, and Fireheart squeezed out after her. Bye, Cinderpaw, he called.
Bye, thanks for the food.
No problem, he meowed. He turned to Yellowfang. Have you got anything for this bite on my neck? Yellowfang looked closely at the wound. Looks like a nasty one, she growled. It's from Broken Tail, Fireheart confessed. Yellowfang nodded. Wait there. She padded quickly to her den and returned with a bundle of herbs wrapped in leaves. Can you manage them yourself? Just chew them up and rub the juice onto the wounds. It'll sting, but nothing a brave warrior can't handle. Thanks, Yellowfang. Fireheart picked up the bundle with his teeth. Yellowfang led him to the tunnel entrance. I appreciate your coming, she meowed, glancing at Cinderpaw's nest. She was feeling pretty low, I think. She felt bad after the battle, and then the naming ceremony. Fireheart nodded. He understood. He gave a last wary glance at where Broken Tail lay. You sure you'll be safe? He asked, again, through the bundle of herbs. He's blind, meowed Yellowfang. She sighed and then added more brightly, and I'm not that old. Fireheart woke the following morning to find dazzling white light streaming through the den wall. He guessed it had snowed again. At least his wounds had stopped aching. Yellowfang had been right. The herb juice had stung, but he felt much better after a good night's sleep. Fireheart wondered how Sandstorm and Dustpelt had managed their vigil. It must have been bitterly cold in the snow. He got to his paws and stretched his forelegs, arching his back and curling his tail over his head. ThunderClan's two newest warriors were bundled up, fast asleep, on the far edge of the den. Whitestorm must have sent them there when he left on dawn patrol. Fireheart padded out to see the snow-covered clearing. He could just make out Frostfur's white pelt skirting the nursery as she slipped out to stretch her legs. There were two bare spots in the center of the clearing where Sandstorm and Dustpelt had spent the night. Fireheart shivered at the thought, but still he envied them as he remembered the thrill of his first night as a warrior. It had filled him with a warmth not even the hardest frost could have chilled. The sky was thick with snow-heavy clouds. Flakes were still falling, softly and silently. There would be plenty of hunting to do today, Fireheart realized. The clan would need to stock up if the snow was going to get deeper. He heard Bluestar call from the high rock. The clan cats began to creep from their dens and pick their way through the snow to hear their leader's words. Fireheart settled himself into one of the bare spots. It smelled of Sandstorm. He noticed Graystripe sitting on the other side of the clearing, looking tired. Fireheart wondered if he'd slipped out last night to tell Silverstream about the rogue cats. Bluestar began to speak. I wanted to make sure you all knew that Broken Tail is in the camp. None of the cats uttered a noise. They knew already. The rumor had spread through camp like forest fire. He is blind and harmless. A few cats snorted their displeasure, and Bluestar nodded to acknowledge their fears. I am as concerned as you are for the safety of our clan, but StarClan knows we cannot turn him out to die in the forest. Yellowfang will nurse him until his wounds heal. Until they have, we'll discuss this again. Bluestar looked around, listening for voices from the crowd, but no cat spoke, so she leaped down from the high rock. As the cats dispersed, Fireheart noticed the leader was walking towards him. Fireheart, she meowed. One thing concerns me. You still haven't settled things with Graystripe. I've not seen you eat together for days. I told you before, there is no room for fighting within ThunderClan. I want you to hunt together today. Fireheart nodded. Yes, Bluestar. That was fine by him. After yesterday's battle, he felt hopeful that Graystripe would like the idea too, and Bluestar walked away. Fireheart scanned the clearing, hoping that Graystripe hadn't disappeared again. No, he was there, helping to clear the snow from the nursery entrance. Hey, Graystripe, Fireheart called. Graystripe carried on with his work. Fireheart bounded over to him. Do you want to go hunting this morning? Graystripe turned to face him, his eyes cold. Are you making sure I don't disappear again? He snarled. Fireheart was startled. No, I just thought after yesterday, Clawface... I would have done the same for any ThunderClan cat. That's what clan loyalty is about. Graystripe's meow was harsh with anger as he went back to pushing Snow. Fireheart's hopes plummeted. Had he lost his friend's trust forever? He turned away, tail down, and began to trudge through the snow towards the camp entrance. He called over his shoulder. Bluestar told me to go hunting with you this morning, actually, so you can explain to her why you're not coming. Oh, I see. You were really just trying to please Bluestar, as usual, Graystripe hissed. Fireheart stopped and whipped around, ready to throw back a retort, but he paused when he saw Graystripe was crossing the clearing towards him, shaking snowflakes from his wide shoulders. Come on, then, Graystripe growled, leading the way down the gross tunnel. It was a slow climb out of the ravine, and with the boulders covered in snow. When they reached the top of the icebound forest stretched before them, Graystripe charged away at once, his face set with a grim determination. Fireheart followed him. As he tracked the mouse around the roots of an oak tree, he saw Graystripe racing after a rabbit that had been foolish enough to stray from its burrow. Graystripe pelted furiously after the creature until he finished it off with a well-aimed pounce. Fireheart sat and watched as Graystripe padded back to him and dropped the rabbit at Fireheart's paws. This should feed a kid or two, he grunted. You don't have to prove anything to me, Fireheart told him. No, Graystripe answered bitterly. His eyes met Fireheart's, cold and angry. Maybe you should start acting as if you trusted me then. He turned away before Fireheart could reply. By Sunhigh, Graystripe had caught more than Fireheart, but both cats had done well. They returned to the camp, their jaws heavy with fresh kill. They padded into the clearing and dropped their prey in their usual place. The spot had been empty so far. Fireheart wondered if they should go out again. The snow was heavier now, with the cold wind beginning to blow through the ravine. Fireheart was studying the darkened sky when he heard Brindleface's worried meow near the nursery. He bounded over to see what's wrong. What's the matter? Have you seen Cloudkit? She demanded. Fireheart shook his head. Is he missing? His paws prickled as Brindleface's rising panic began to infect him. Yes, so are my other kits. I only closed my eyes for a moment. I woke up and I can't find them anywhere. It's too cold for them to be out. They'll freeze to death. The queen swayed on her paws. Alarm shot through Fireheart as he pictured the last time a young cat had disappeared from camp. It had been Cinderpaw. Barr, 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 barr. What's Fireheart supposed to do? Not listen to the leader, right? I'm scrolling up to catch up what you guys... Then gave cat a sob. What doth this mean? No more ads and more modes. Yay! Pog! Grassy! Sunstorm is another fave. So true. Javud Sandstorm. Dun 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 dun. Cinderpaw. Yellowfang. Yellowfang is just a tsundere. Why is he always jealous? He's not mad, he's jealous. Nono reminds me of either a ragdoll or a munchkin. Def a ragdoll. Aww. Cream orange spotted ragdoll. Oh, that's so cute. Cat, were you good at drawing warrior cats? Bruh. You're eating sand! Oh my goodness. Was I? I'll be able to tell. If you draw something and put it in the chat. I mean, not in the chat. In the... You can? You are good at drawing kitty cats? You know how when you look at cats and you can tell if they were a warrior cat fan or not? You can afford all the different Pop Cup flavors now. Yeah, juice! OMG. It's true. Don't call me out. Don't worry. I'm the same. Except I can't really draw cats. But I can't draw cats, but I know. You know, like I know the look of a warrior cat fan. I have no such powers. I'm curious, cat. I want to see if you have old drawings. You should put it in our Discord. Join our Discord. Post your cat drawings. I want to see them. I can go from scrungly to eye decent. Both are very good. Scrungly. Okay. We have 20 more pages to go. Chapter 28. Me and one of my drawers are the only ones who can't draw. I wish I could draw. Just gotta keep on drawing. Just draw every single day. It doesn't have to be good. Just get used to putting your pen down on paper. Or tablet pen down on tablet. You can do it if you really want to. Chapter 28. Oh yeah, wait. I never acknowledged the fact that Yellowfang is Broken Tail's mom. I was looking at chat when you guys were like, what the? Classic. The drama. You never know when it's coming. Robots and monsters. Yeah. What she said was a really cool line. That one where she was like, I thought Starkan's punishment for having Yellowfang or having broken the code was losing 2 kits, but now I know that the real punishment was that he survived. That was good. That was good. A very sheesh moment. Raw as heck. Man, Yellowfang. It hits. Okay, chapter 28. I'll find them, Fireheart promised. He automatically looked around for Greystripe. The wind was rising and the snow was growing thicker. He didn't want to search alone. Fireheart rushed to the warrior's den and pushed his way inside, but Greystripe wasn't there. Sandstorm was just waking up. What's wrong? She meowed, seeing Fireheart peering around the den. Brindleface kits are missing. Cloud Kit too? Sandstorm scrambled to her paws, instantly awake. Yes! I was looking for Greystripe so we could look for them together, but he isn't here. Fireheart meowed, his words tumbling out in a rush. He felt a stab of rage that Greystripe was missing yet again, right after accusing Fireheart of not trusting him. I'll come with you, Sandstorm offered. Fireheart blinked. Thanks, he meowed gratefully. Come on, we should tell Bluestar before we leave. Dustpelt didn't tell her. Is it still snowing? Yes, it's getting heavier. We'd better hurry. Fireheart looked at Dustpelt's sleeping form. You wake him. I'll tell Brindleface we're going and meet you at the entrance. He bounded away, back to the nursery. Brindleface was still sniffing around in search of scents. Any sign? Fireheart asked. No, nothing. Brindleface's voice was trembling. Frostfur's gone to tell Bluestar. Don't worry. I'm going out to look for them. He reassured her. Sandstorm's coming with me. We'll find them. Brindleface nodded and carried on searching. Fireheart and Sandstorm arrived at the gorse tunnel together and hurried out into the woods. Outside the camp, the wind felt even fiercer. Fireheart narrowed his eyes and hunched his shoulders against the blizzard. It's going to be hard picking up the scents through the fresh snow, he warned Sandstorm. Let's start by checking to see if they've climbed up to the forest. Okay, meowed Sandstorm. You take that side. Fireheart pointed with his nose, and I'll take the other. Meet you back here. Don't be long. Sandstorm bounded away, and Fireheart leaped over a fallen tree, headed towards the trail the clan followed most often. The sides of the ravine were still more thickly coated than they had been that morning, and slippery now where the snow had frozen into ice. Fireheart stopped and lifted his head, his mouth open. But he could find no scent of the kits. He looked in vain for paw steps. Would their trail already be covered by fresh snow? He trekked along the bottom of the slope and found no sign of any cats, let alone lost kits. The wind blew until Fireheart could feel the tips of his ears. No kit could survive in this weather, and it wouldn't be long before the sun began to set. He had to find them before nightfall. Fireheart raced back to the camp entrance. Sandstorm was waiting for him, her fur striped with small ridges of snow. She shook them off as he saw him coming. Any sign?
No, nothing.
They can't have gotten far, Fireheart pointed out. Come on, let's try this way. He headed towards the training hollow. Sandstorm battled after him. The snow was getting deeper, and she sank up to her belly with every step. The training hollow was empty. Do you think Blue Star realized how bad the weather is out here? Oh, that was the girl. That was Sandstorm.
Do you think Blue Star realizes how bad the weather is out here?
Asked Sandstorm, raising her voice against the wind. She'll know, Fireheart called back to her.
We should just go back and get help. Join up another search party,
meowed Sandstorm. Fireheart looked at the shivering warrior. It was not just the kids who might freeze out here. Perhaps Sandstorm was right. I agree, he replied. We can't do this by ourselves. As they turned towards camp, Fireheart thought he heard a tiny squeal through the wind. Did you hear that? He called. Sandstorm stopped and began sniffing the air furiously. Then she lifted her head. That way! She meowed, pointing with her nose to a fallen tree. Fireheart leaped towards it with Sandstorm right behind him. The squealing grew louder until Fireheart could make out several little noises. He scrambled up onto the log and looked down the other side. Huddled in the snow were two small kits. Fireheart felt a rush of relief until he realized Cloud Kit was not with them. Where's Cloud Kit? He yelled.
Hunting!
Squeaked one of the kits. Her voice trembled with cold and fear, but there was a note of defiance in it. Fireheart lifted his head.
Cloud Kit!
He called, peering through the snowflakes. Fireheart, look! She was on top of the log. Fireheart spun around. A bedraggled white shape was struggling through the snow towards them. Cloud Kit! Every step was a massive leap for the tiny kit. The snow was high as he was, but he kept coming, and in his mouth he carried a small, snow-encrusted vole. A surge of relief and fury shot through Fireheart. He left Sandstorm with the others and bounded through the snow to scoop up the kit by the scruff of his neck. Cloud Kit grunted in protest, but refused to drop the vole that dangled from his mouth. Fireheart turned to see Sandstorm nudging the others towards him. They stumbled ahead of her, sinking up to their ears in deep snow. But she kept pushing them on. Cloudkit squirmed in Fireheart's mouth. Fireheart dropped him back into the snow. Cloudkit looked up at him, proudly holding his catch. Fireheart couldn't help feeling impressed. In spite of the snow and wind, Cloudkit had caught his first prey. Wait there, he ordered, and dashed back to help Sandstorm. He picked up a tiny she-cat who was meowing pitifully, and began nosing the other forward. The bedraggled group struggled back to camp. Brindleface was waiting outside the gorse tunnel, and Bluestar stood beside her. Her eyes narrowed against the driving snow. As they stood, they spotted Fireheart's party. They rushed forward to help. Bluestar scooped up Cloudkit, and Brindleface grabbed the other kit. Then they turned and raced into shelter of the camp, with Fireheart and Sandstorm hurrying behind.
Mother, I've brought tributes.
Once at the clearing, the three cats dropped their frozen bundles onto the ground. Fireheart shook the snow from his fur and looked down at Cloudkit, who was still stubbornly clinging to his catch. Bluestar glared at the three kits. What do you think you were doing out there? You know it's against the warrior code for kits to hunt. Brindleface's two kits shrank under their leader's angry gaze, but Cloudkit looked at her with round blue eyes. He dropped the vole and mewed.
The clan needed fresh kill, so we decided to catch some.
Fireheart flinched at his boldness. Whose idea was it?
Mine,
Cloudkit announced, his head still unbowed. Bluestar fixed her eyes on the defiant little kit and yowled. You could have frozen to death out there. Cloudkit was startled by the anger in her voice and dropped into a crouch.
We did it for the clan,
he mewed defensively. Fireheart held his breath as he waited to see what Bluestar would do next. Cloudkit had broken the warrior code. Would Bluestar change her mind about letting him stay? Your intention? Your intention, Bluestar meowed slowly, was good. But it was a foolish thing to do. Fireheart felt a flicker of hope. Then he cringed as Cloudkit piped up again. I caught something, though. I can see that, replied Bluestar coldly. She gazed at all three kits. I shall leave it to your mother to decide what to do with you, but I don't want to find you doing anything like this again. Do you understand? Fireheart relaxed a little as Cloudkit nodded to the others. Cloudkit, you may add your cats to the fresh kill pile, Bluestar added. Then all three of you can go straight to the nursery and get yourselves dry and warm. Fireheart felt surprised. Was that a motherly tone he had detected in the ThunderClan leader's voice? Brindleface's kit scrambled towards the nursery, followed by their mother, while Cloudkit picked up his foal and trotted off towards the pile of fresh kill. The proud tilt of his head made Fireheart's paws prickle with worry, but as Bluestar watched them go, Fireheart thought he detected a glint of admiration in his leader's eyes. Well done, you two, she meowed, turning her attention to Sandstorm and Fireheart. I'll send Longtail out to recover the other search party. You should go to your den and try to warm up, too. Yes, Bluestar, Fireheart answered. He turned to leave with Sandstorm, but Bluestar called him back. Fireheart, she meowed. Oh, Fireheart, she meowed. I want to talk to you. Her tone made Fireheart feel apprehensive. Perhaps he'd relaxed too soon. Cloudkit showed some fine hunting skills today, Bluestar began, but all the skill in the world is worthless if he can't learn to obey the warrior code. It may be for his own safety for now, but in the future, the safety of the whole clan will depend on it. Fireheart stared down at the ground. He knew Bluestar was right. He couldn't help feeling that she was expecting too much of the young kit. Cloudkit was still very young, and he'd been with the clan only a short time. Fireheart swallowed a pang of resentment as he thought of how seamlessly Graystripe, a clan-born cat, was disobeying the warrior code. He looked up at the clan leader. Yes, Bluestar, he meowed. I'll make sure he learns. Good. Bluestar sounded satisfied. She turned and putted away to her den. Fireheart made his way to the warrior's den, even though he no longer felt cold. Bluestar's words had made him burn. He pushed his way inside, settled into his nest, and began to wash. He stayed in his nest all afternoon, brooding about Graystripe and Cloudkit. He knew that Bluestar was right. The pride and defiance he'd seen in the white kit's eyes made Fireheart wonder if he really would be able to adjust to clan life. As the evening came, hunger drew Fireheart from the den. He picked a thrush from the pile of fresh kill and settled down by the nettle clump to eat it. It was dark now, and the snow had eased. Once his eyes had adjusted to the night, Fireheart could see the camp entrance clearly. He spotted Graystripe as soon as he appeared, and watched him walk to the pile of fresh kill. The great warrior was carrying prey. Perhaps he'd just been hunting after all. Graystripe dropped most of his catch into the pile. He kept a large mouse for himself and took it to the sheltered spot near the camp wall. Fireheart's brief hope faded. The distracted look in Graystripe's eyes told him that his suspicions were right. Graystripe had been with Silverstream. Fireheart got to his paws and padded into the den. He had no trouble falling into a deep sleep. As he slept, he dreamt again. The snowy forest spread out around him, glowing white beneath the cold moon. Fireheart stood on a tall, jagged rock. Beside him stood Cloudkit, a fully grown warrior, his thick white pelt rippling in the wind. Frost sparkled on the stone beneath their paws. Watch! He hissed to Cloudkit. A wood mouse scuttled into the frozen roots of a tree. Cloudkit followed his gaze and leaped silently from the rock onto the forest floor. Fireheart watched the white Tom prowl towards the prey. Suddenly, he smelt a scent so warm and familiar, his fur quivered. He felt warm beneath his ear and turned sharply. Spotted Leaf was standing beside him. Her dappled pelt shone in the moonlight as she touched her soft pink nose to him. Fireheart, she whispered, I have warning for you from StarClan. Her tone was somber, and her eyes burned into his. A battle is coming, Fireheart. Beware of a warrior you cannot trust. The squeal of a mouse made Fireheart jump and look around. Cloudkit must have made his kill. He turned back to Spotted Leaf, but she had disappeared. Fireheart woke with a start and turned to the nest beside him. Graystripe was curled up, fast asleep, his nose tucked under his thick tail. Spotted Leaf's words echoed in Fireheart's mind. Beware a warrior you cannot trust. He shivered. The bitter cold of the forest seemed to cling to his fur even here, and the sweet fragrance of Spotted Leaf lingered in his nostrils. Graystripe stirred beside him, muttering in his sleep, and Fireheart flinched. He knew he wouldn't go back to sleep again, but he stayed in his nest and watched his friends sleeping until the dawnlight began to shine through the walls of the den. Dude, why are you suspicious of Graystripe when Tiger Claw exists?
Welcome to the popcorn bucket, Mystery Milk Juice!
Mr. Pelt Juice. Right? Like, don't, what do you mean? Tiger Claw exists. What a little scrunkly. He's a little fart. So true. Cloud Kid is a little scrunkly fart. Graystripe is just a simp. He just he's got bitten by the love bug, as they say. Chapter 29. We are, how many pages away are we? Dude, we're 12 pages from the end. Chapter 29. As the den grew lighter, Willowpelt woke up. Fireheart watched as she rose and stretched, then pushed her way out of the den. He gave a last glance at Graystripe's sleeping form and followed her. It stopped snowing, he meowed, desperate to break the ghostly silence that unfolded the snowbound camp. His voice echoed around the clearing, and Willowpelt nodded. A rustling noise accompanied the scent of Tiger Claw and Running Wing as they emerged from the den. They settled themselves beside Willowpelt to watch. Ready for the dawn patrol, Fireheart thought. He wondered if he should offer to join them, since he could do with a run through the woods, but part of him wanted to stay behind and keep an eye on Graystripe. Spotted Leaf's words still lay heavy in his heart, dude. He couldn't shake off the idea Graystripe was the warrior he could not trust. Dude! Graystripe insisted his relationship with Silverstream didn't change his loyalty to the clan, but how could it not? He was breaking the warrior code just by seeing her. Suddenly, Tiger Claw lifted his head and as though he smelled something. Fireheart tensed. His ears twitched. He could hear paws crunching through the snow in the distance, moving fast. The breeze carried the scent of WindClan. The paw steps grew louder as the warriors stiffened, and the cat rushing towards them. A cat was rushing towards them through the gorse tunnel. Tiger Claw arched his back and hissed as One Whisker burst through the clearing. The WindClan warrior skidded to a halt in front of them, his eyes filled with dread. "ShadowClan and RiverClan!" he gasped. "They're attacking our camp! We're outnumbered and fighting for our lives. Tolstar refuses to be driven off this time. You must help my clan! Help or my clan will be wiped out!" Bluestar bounded out of her den. All eyes turned from One Whisker to her. "I heard," she meowed. Without mounting the high rock, the ThunderClan leader gave the yowl she used to call the clan together. One Whisker's fear scent filled the clearing as he watched the cats emerge from the morning light. As soon as the clan had gathered, Bluestar began. "There's no time to waste. As we feared, ShadowClan and RiverClan have joined together, and now they're attacking the WindClan camp. We must help them." She paused and looked around at the faces staring back at her in dismay. One Whisker stood beside her, listening silently with wide, hopeful eyes. Fireheart was appalled. After the road cats had been discovered, he thought Nightstar could be trusted. Now it seemed that ShadowClan leader had broken the warrior code after all by uniting with RiverClan to drive out WindClan from their home yet again. "But we are in Leaf Bear," protested Patchpelt. "We've taken the risk for WindClan once before. Let them take care of themselves this time." A few murmurs of agreement rose from the elders and queens. It was Tiger Claw who answered him, stepping forward to stand beside Bluestar. "You're right to be cautious, Patchpelt, but if ShadowClan and RiverClan have united, it is only a matter of time before they turn on us. We better fight now with WindClan than later alone." Bluestar looked at Patchpelt, who closed his eyes and lifted his tail, accepting Tiger Claw's words. Yellowfang pushed her way forward and spoke quietly to the leader. "I think you should remain behind in camp, Bluestar. The fever from the Greencroft may have gone, but you're still weak." The two cats exchanged a look that Fireheart understood with a jolt. Bluestar was on her 9th and final life. For the sake of the clan, she could not afford to risk it in battle. Bluestar nodded briskly. Tiger Claw, I want you to organize 2 parties. One to head to the attack, one to back it up. We need to get there as fast as we can.
Yes, Blue Star. Tiger Claw turned to the warriors. White Storm, you'll head in the second party. I'll head in the first. I'll take Dark Stripe, Mouse Fur, Longtail, Dustpelt, and Fireheart.
Fireheart lifted his head as Tiger Claw called his name, feeling a thrill run through him. He was to join the lead party.
You, he called to One Whisker. What's your name?
The Wind Clan warrior looked startled by Tiger Claw's tone. Fireheart answered for him. One Whisker, he meowed.
Tiger Claw nodded, barely pausing to look at Fireheart. One Whisker, you'll be in my party. The rest of the ThunderClan warriors will join White Storm. You too, Breaking Paw. Are we ready? Called Tiger Claw.
The warriors raised their heads and let out a battle cry. Tiger Claw charged for the gorse tunnel and they raced after him. Up the ravine they climbed into the forest. They were heading for 4 trees in the uplands beyond. Fireheart glanced over his shoulder as he ran through the trees. Graystripe was near the back, his face grim, his eyes staring blankly ahead. Fireheart wondered if Silverstream would be in the battle. Fireheart felt a pang of sorrow for his friend, but this time he had no doubts in his own readiness to fight. After bringing Wind Clan home, he couldn't help feeling responsible for them. He would not let any clan drive them back to those Thunderpath tunnels. Spotted Leaf's fragrance filled his nostrils once more, and Fireheart's fur prickled. Beware a warrior you cannot trust. This was going to be a difficult battle in more ways than none. 1. Graystripe would have no choice about proving his loyalty now. Even though the snow had stopped falling, it was hard work getting through the drifts. An icy crust had formed over the top of the snow. The warriors were heavy enough to break through and sink into the softer snow below. Tiger Claw! Willowpelt's yowl sounded from the air. The deputy halted and turned. We're being followed! Willowpelt called. Her words sent a quiver of alarm through Fireheart. Had they run into a trap? Quietly, the patrol retraced their paw steps, alert and suspicious. A snow-laden branch creaked above, making Breaking Paw jump. Wait, Tiger Claw hissed. The cats crouched in the deep snow. Fireheart could hear the noises of paw steps heading towards them. They sounded light, like small paws stepping delicately over the top of the ice crust. With a sinking heart, Fireheart guessed who it was in a heartbeat before Cloudkit and Brindleface's 2 kits appeared from behind a log. Tiger Claw reared up on them, and the quits squealed in fright. The warrior recognized them instantly and dropped down on all 4 paws. What are you doing here? He spat. We wanted to join the battle, meowed Cloudkit. Fireheart winced. Fireheart! Called Tiger Claw. Fireheart hurried forward, and the Dark Warrior spat impatiently. You brought this kit into the clan. You deal with it. Fireheart looked into Tiger Claw's blazing eyes. He knew that the deputy was trying to force him to choose. Fireheart could either join the battle party and fight for the clan or take care of his kitty pet kin. The whole patrol waited in silence for Fireheart to speak. Fireheart knew he would choose to fight for the clan, but he couldn't sacrifice his sister's kit. Cloudkit and the others must be taken home safely by another cat. But which warrior could the raiding party do without? Breaking Paw. Fireheart called to Graystripe's apprentice. Please take these kits home. Fireheart waited for Graystripe to object, but the Grey Warrior remained silent as Fireheart ordered his apprentice back to camp. Breaking Paw's tail drooped, and Fireheart felt a stab of guilt. There'll be plenty more battles for you to fight, he promised. Well, Fireheart, you said one day we fight by side. Cloudkit protest rang through the trees. Tiger Claw shot Fireheart a mocking look. Fireheart felt his fur prickle uncomfortably as amusement rippled through the patrol at the tiny kit's words, but he refused to show his embarrassment. One day we will, he meowed, but not today. The white kit's shoulders sagged, and Fireheart let out a sigh of relief as he watched Cloudkit reluctantly join the other kits following Breaking Paw back to camp. I'm surprised by your choice, Fireheart, Tiger Claw sneered. I didn't expect you to be so keen to fight this battle. Fireheart stared at Tiger Claw and felt the blood pulse through him, so was that his whole body throbbed with rage. If only you were keen too, he retorted. You'd give the battle cry instead of keeping us here while Wind Clan warriors die. Tiger Claw flashed him a look of loathing, threw back his head, and yowled to the sky before charging on towards the Wind Clan camp. Fireheart and the others raced after him. past 4 trees to the steep slope that led to the uplands. They bounded up, their paws made noiseless by the snow. When they reached the top, Fireheart was battered by a howling wind that turned his ears inside out. The WindClan hunting grounds looked more barren than ever, the gorse hidden by a layer of snow.
Fireheart, you know the way to WindClan camp?
Yowled Tiger Claw above the wind.
Lead us there.
He slowed to let Fireheart pass. Fireheart wondered if the deputy didn't trust One Whisker enough to let the WindClan warrior guide them. He looked back at Graystripe, hoping for some help, but the gray warrior had his head bowed and his shoulders hunched miserably as the wind buffeted his thick fur. There would be little help there. He turned his eyes to StarClan and sent a prayer up for guidance. He was surprised to find that he recognized the shape of the land even beneath the snow. There was the badger set and the rock Graystripe had climbed to get a better view. He followed the contours and remembered from his journey with Graystripe until he reached the dip in the land that marked the WindClan camp. Fireheart paused at the rim of the hollow. "Down there!" he yowled. For a heartbeat the wind dropped, and from below they heard the sounds of battle, screams and howls as cats furiously fought with cat. Dun 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 dun! WindClan and ThunderClan versus ShadowClan and RiverClan. Yeah, ShadowClan and RiverClan invaded WindClan territory and are fighting, and so Oak Whisker, was that his name? Yeah, One Whisker. One Whisker ran to ThunderClan camp and asked for help. Hi, Rave! So we're in chapter 30. 10 pages left. Tigerclaw addressed the warriors in a fierce hiss that carried through the blizzard.
White Storm, wait until you hear me battle cry. One Whisker, you lead us through the camp entrance. We'll take care of the rest.
One Whisker began to race down the slope towards the snow-covered bushes. Tigerclaw thundered after him, Darkstripe at his heels. Fireheart charged behind the sleek gray tabby through the narrow tunnel that led into the WindClan camp. The gorse was as dense and sharp as he remembered. Graystripe and the other warriors stayed at the top of the slope, a fresh wave of attack ready to strike after the initial barrage. Fireheart skidded to a halt, reeling at the sight that greeted him at the camp clearing. Last time he'd been here in search of the scent trail that would lead them to the missing clan, the place had been deserted and silent. Now the clearing swarmed with withering, screeching, fighting cats. One Whisker had been right. The WindClan cats were helplessly outnumbered. A fresh party of ShadowClan and RiverClan warriors waited at the edge of the clearing, but WindClan could spare no backup group. The whole clan was fighting, apprentices and elders, warriors and queens. Dude, poor WindClan, holy. Fireheart spotted Morningflower wrestling with a ShadowClan warrior. The WindClan queen looked exhausted and frightened, her fur standing in ragged clumps. Still, she nimbly turned and scratched her attacker, but he was much bigger and knocked her easily to the ground with a heavy blow. With a howl, Fireheart leaped and landed squarely on the shoulders of the ShadowClan Tom. He clung on while the surprised warrior spun and tried to shake him loose. Morningflower racked the Tom with her claws as Fireheart dragged him to the ground. The ShadowClan warrior screeched and ripped himself free. He ran into the prickly camp wall and pushed his way through. Morningflower shot a grateful glance at Fireheart and turned back into the battle. Fireheart looked around, shaking drops of blood from his nose. The fresh patrols of ShadowClan and RiverClan cats had joined the fight now. ThunderClan's arrival had evened the numbers for a while, but now the second party was needed. Fireheart heard Tigerclaw's battle cry ring out, and the moment later White Storm exploded into the clearing, followed by Graystripe, Running Wing, and the rest of the ThunderClan warriors. Fireheart grabbed a RiverClan warrior, tripping him with one paw and holding him down with the other. He rolled the Tom over and thrashed at his belly with his hind claws. The RiverClan cat leapt away and crashed into a WindClan warrior. The warrior turned in surprise. Fireheart recognized One Whisker straight away and watched as he reared and attacked the RiverClan Tom without a moment's pause. Fireheart could see the fire in One Whisker's eyes. He could leave him to finish this fight. A familiar hiss caught Fireheart's attention. Graystripe was battling with a gray ShadowClan cat. It was Wetfoot, a warrior who had helped them fight to rid ShadowClan of Broken Star. The two warriors were well matched. Graystripe thrust Wetfoot away with his back legs and spun around, looking for another cat to attack. Fireheart could see a RiverClan cat right behind Graystripe. Above the din of the battle, he heard the blood roar in his ears. Would Graystripe attack one of Silverstream's fellow warriors? Graystripe leapt, and Fireheart held his breath. But instead of jumping onto a RiverClan cat, Graystripe sailed over him and landed instead on the back of a ShadowClan warrior. Fireheart heard Tigerclaw call his name. He twisted his head and saw the warrior at the other end of the clearing. The fight was thick up there, with the cats from all clans battling together. As he charged through to the ThunderClan deputy, Fireheart felt Leopardfur grasp at his hind leg, pulling him down. "You!" hissed the RiverClan deputy. They had met at the gorge where Whiteclaw had died. Fireheart threw her off and flipped over onto his back. Too late, he realized that he'd exposed his soft belly. Leopardfur didn't waste a moment. She reared up and came down on Fireheart with all her might. Fireheart felt the wind knock out of him before the thorn-sharp claws dug into his belly. He screamed in agony. As his eyes rolled, he saw Tigerclaw at the side of the clearing, watching him with a cold, expressionless eyes. "Tigerclaw!" Fireheart howled. "Help me!" But Tigerclaw didn't move. He just stared as Leopardfur clawed Fireheart again and again. Sheer rage gave Fireheart the strength he needed. He fought through the pain and drew his hind legs and pushed up against Leopardfur's belly as hard as he could. Fireheart saw a look of shock on the deputy's face as his kick lifted the warrior and flung her halfway across the clearing. Fireheart struggled to his paws and glared at Tigerclaw, burning with pain and rage. Tigerclaw met his gaze with a look of undisguised hatred and leaped away into the thick of the battle. A blow on the back of his head knocked Fireheart off balance. He staggered to see Stonefur. The RiverClan warrior was preparing to aim another swipe. Fireheart ducked out of the way and shoved Stonefur straight into Whitestorm. The ThunderClan cat whipped around and grasped Stonefur by the scruff of his neck. Fireheart tried to dart forward and help the white-furred warrior, but his claws held him back, digging into his haunches. He twisted around to see who it was and glimpsed gray fur. It was Silverstream. The she-cat's face was twisted in battle rage as she reared up at him. Blood was dripping into her eyes, and Fireheart could tell that she hadn't recognized him. She drew back a paw, and he saw her long claws flash as she prepared to swipe him. As Fireheart screwed up his eyes, bracing himself for the blow, he heard an achingly familiar yowl. "Silverstream! No!" "Graystripe," thought Fireheart. Silverstream hesitated, shook her head, and recognized Fireheart with a muted gasp. She dropped back down to all four paws, her eyes wide with shock. Fireheart reacted instinctively, his blood aflame with battle. Without thinking, he leapt onto the back of the RiverClan she-cat and pinned her to the ground. She didn't struggle as he drew back his head and prepared to give her a vicious bite on her shoulder. But as Fireheart raised his head, he felt Graystripe's eyes boring into him. The Grey Warrior was watching in horror from the edge of the battle. The look of pain and disbelief in his friend's eyes brought Fireheart to his senses. He stopped, sheathed his claws, and loosened his grip on Silverstream. The she-cat slipped away from him and disappeared into the surrounding gorse. Fireheart stared, still in shock, as Graystripe raced after her. Fireheart felt as if he were still being watched. He looked around and met the eyes of Darkstripe on the other side of the clearing. Fireheart flinched. Graystripe's affair had forced him to disloyalty to the ThunderClan after all. He had let an enemy warrior go. How much had Darkstripe seen? Just then, Fireheart heard Running Wing yowl for help. The tabby warrior was grappling desperately with Nightstar, ShadowClan's treacherous leader. Fireheart darted through the throng to Running Wing's side. Without pausing to think, Fireheart leapt, grabbing Nightstar from behind. The black warrior howled in rage as Fireheart pulled him back and sank his claws deep into Nightstar's fur. He had fought side by side with this warrior only a few moons ago to help him drive out Brokenstar. Now he sank his teeth into Nightstar's shoulder with the same ferocity he had used against the former ShadowClan leader. Nightstar squealed and twisted in Fireheart's grip. The Tom had not been made leader for nothing, thought Fireheart, struggling to hang on. Nightstar scrabbled free, but Running Wing was ready. He pounced, and together the two warriors rolled across the frozen clearing. Fireheart watched them struggle and twist, timing his moment perfectly so that when he finally leaped, he landed squarely on Nightstar's back. He grasped him more firmly this time, ready for the warrior to wriggle free, but Running Wing had also had a grip. Together they scratched and bit the Shadow Clan leader till he screeched out loud. Then they released him, springing backwards with their claws still unsheathed. Nightstar leaped to his paws and spun around, hissing. Fireheart saw the fury in his eyes, but the Shadow Clan leader knew he was beaten. He backed away, his eyes darting around the clearing where his warriors were suffering similar treatment from the other ThunderClan warriors. He gave a yowl of retreat. Instantly, the warriors stopped fighting and, like their leader, backed into the gorse that surrounded the camp. The RiverClan warriors were left alone to fend off ThunderClan and WindClan. Fireheart paused to catch his breath, blinking blood from his eyes. Whitestorm was grappling with leopard fur now, with mouse fur at his side. Sandstorm was battling a RiverClan warrior almost twice her size, but her opponent was only half her speed. Fireheart watched Sandstorm nip and twist around him until the RiverClan warrior looked overwhelmed. Dustpelt was fighting a smoky black Tom nearby. Fireheart recognized Blackclaw, the RiverClan warrior he had seen chasing rabbits in the uplands. Dustpelt was stubbornly refusing to be cowed by the blows and bites aimed at him. Each time he was struck, the young warrior turned and gave as good as he got. It looked as if he didn't need any help, and Fireheart guessed Dustpelt would not thank him for interfering with this fight. Where was Crooked Star? Fireheart searched the clearing for the RiverClan leader. It wasn't hard to find him. Now that ShadowClan had run away, the clearing was less crowded. Fireheart soon spotted the light-colored tabby with the twisted jaw. He was crouching low, face to face with Tigerclaw. The two warriors stared at each other, their tails thrashing menacingly. Fireheart blood pounded through his veins as he waited for one of them to make the move. It was Crooked Star who leaped first, but Tigerclaw jumped nimbly aside, and Crooked Star missed. Tigerclaw was more accurate. He turned and lunged at Crooked Star's back. The ThunderClan warrior grasped the RiverClan leader with his long claws, and Crooked Star went limp beneath him. Fireheart watched breathlessly as Tigerclaw bared his teeth, lunged forward, and sank them deep into Crooked Star's neck. Fireheart gasped. Had Tigerclaw really killed the RiverClan leader? Crooked Star pain screech told Fireheart that Tigerclaw had missed the spine, but it was a blow to win the battle. Tigerclaw released his opponent and let him race, yowling towards the camp entrance. As soon as Crooked Star's tail shot out of sight, his warriors struggled free and pelted after him. In a heartbeat, the WindClan camp felt silent apart from the howling of the wind of the gorse. Fireheart stared around him. The ThunderClan warriors were tired and battered, but the WindClan cats looked far worse. Every one of them was bleeding, while some lay unmoving on the frozen ground. Barkface, their medicine cat, wasted no time in rushing from one cat to another, attending their injuries. Tallstar limped towards Tigerclaw, blood dripping from his cheek. As he watched the WindClan leader, Fireheart remembered his dreams from moons ago. Tallstar had been silhouetted against a bright fire, like a warrior had sent from StarClan to save them. Fire will save the clan, according to Spotted Leaf's prophecy. But looking at the WindClan cats, exhausted and beaten, Fireheart wondered if his dream had misled him. How could these cats represent the fire that StarClan promised would save his clan? Surely it was ThunderClan who had just saved WindClan. Again. Tallstar spoke quietly to Tigerclaw. Fireheart couldn't hear the words they shared, but he could guess by Tallstar's bowed head that WindClan leader was acknowledging the debt he owed to ThunderClan. Tigerclaw sat up straight and accepted the thanks with his chin held high. Fireheart felt a wave of revulsion at the dark warrior's arrogance. He would never forget that Tigerclaw had stood by and watched while Leopardfur had nearly ripped him to shreds. Here, Fireheart was shaken from his thoughts by the soft voice of Willowpelt offering him a mouthful of medicine cat herbs. Fireheart purred his thanks as Willowpelt began squeezing juices from the herbs into the bite marks on Fireheart's shoulders. The juices stung, but the smell took him straight back to another time, with Spotted Leaf. She had given him the same herb to treat Yellowfang so many moons ago. As the odor of the herbs wafted up, Fireheart remembered his dream from the night before. Beware a warrior. Spotted Leaf had warned him. Beware a warrior? The truth washed over Fireheart like a chill wind. It wasn't Graystripe he should be wary of, but Tigerclaw. Duh! How could he have suspected his friend when he knew that Tigerclaw was capable of? Suddenly, Fireheart was sure Ravenpaw had been telling the truth. Whatever Bluestar had said, Seeing the Dark Warrior's performance today, Fireheart realized that Tiger Claw could have easily killed Redtail and walked away without remorse. You fought well, Fireheart! Running Wind interrupted his thoughts. The brown tabby blinked warmly at Fireheart as he promised. I'll make sure Bluestar hears about it. Yes, agreed Willowpelt. You're a fine warrior. StarClan will honor you for this fight. Fireheart looked at them both, his eyes twitching with pleasure. It was a relief to feel part of the clan again. Suddenly, Fireheart's fur prickled. Darkstripe was stalking across the clearing towards Tiger Claw. He sat down behind Tiger Claw and waited until the Wind Clan leader walked away. Then leaned forward and whispered urgently into Tiger Claw's ear. The two warriors kept glancing towards Fireheart. He saw, thought Fireheart, feeling dizzy with horror. He saw me let Silverstream go. Are you okay? Asked Willowpelt. Fireheart realized he was shivering. Yes, sorry, just thinking. Tiger Claw was stalking towards him, his eyes shining with spiteful satisfaction. Well, if you're sure, I'll go see some others, meowed Willowpelt. Yes, fine, thanks. Willowpelt picked up some herbs and padded away. Running Wind followed her. Tiger Claw flattened his ears and drew back his lip in a snarl as he looked down at Fireheart. Darkstripe says you let a River Clan she-cat escape. Fireheart realized there was nothing he could say. No matter how difficult Greystripe had made things for him, there was no way he was going to betray his friend to this warrior. He longed to yowl back that Tiger Claw had stopped and watched while River Clan warrior tried to kill him. But who would believe him? Darkstripe padded up to stand beside Tiger Claw. Fireheart longed for the wisdom and fairness of Bluestar, but she was far away, back at ThunderClan camp. He took a breath, preparing to speak as Tiger Claw stared menacingly down at him. Then it dawned on Fireheart that any disloyalty he had shown on Greystripe's behalf meant nothing to this great warrior. That wasn't the real reason that Tiger Claw's persecution of him. The deputy was still afraid of what Fireheart might have learnt from Ravenpaw and about Redtail's death all those moons ago. But unlike Ravenpaw, Fireheart was going to give in fear. Fireheart wasn't going to give in to fear. His eyes challenged the Dark Deputy, and he growled. She escaped, yes. Like Crooked Star escaped from you. Why? Did you want me to kill her? Tiger Claw's tail lashed the cold ground. Darkstripe says you didn't even scratch her. Fireheart shrugged. Perhaps Darkstripe should chase after the she-cat and ask if it's true. Darkstripe looked ready to spit, but he remained silent as Tiger Claw spoke. He doesn't need to. Darkstripe tells me your young gray friend chased after her. Perhaps he'll be able to tell us how badly she was scratched. For the first time since they've entered the battle, Fireheart felt a chill of the wind. The gleam in Tiger Claw's eyes hinted a veil of threat. Had the Dark Warrior guessed about Greystripe's love for Silverstream? Fireheart was searching for words when Greystripe appeared, squeezing through the camp entrance. Look who's back, sneered Tiger Claw. Did you want to ask him how the she-cat is? No, wait, I can guess his answer. He'll tell me he didn't manage to catch up with her. Not bothering to disguise the scorn in his eyes, Tiger Claw stalked away with Darkstripe behind him. Fireheart looked over at Greystripe. His friend's face was lined with exhaustion and worry. Fireheart padded across the clearing to meet him. Would Greystripe still be resentful of Fireheart's interference? Would he be angry that Fireheart had tried to attack Silverstream, or grateful that he'd let her go? Greystripe stood silently, his broad head hanging down. Fireheart reached forward with his nose and gently touched his friend's cold gray flank. He felt Greystripe's rumbling purr and looked up. Greystripe gazed back at him. His eyes were sad, and there was no trace of the anger that Fireheart had seen in them lately. Is she okay? Fireheart asked under his breath. Yes, whispered Greystripe. Thanks for letting her go. Fireheart blinked at him. I'm glad she wasn't hurt, he meowed. Greystripe held his gaze for a moment, then meowed. Fireheart, you were right. This battle wasn't easy. It felt like I was fighting Silverstream's clanmates, not enemy warriors. He lowered his eyes, ashamed. But I still can't give her up. The Grey Warrior's words filled Fireheart with foreboding, but he couldn't help sympathize with his friend. This is something you have to work out by yourself, he meowed. It's not my place to judge you. Greystripe looked up as Fireheart went on. Greystripe, whatever you decide to do, I will always be your friend. Greystripe stared at him, his eyes clouded with relief and gratitude. Then, without speaking, the two warriors lay down, side to side, in the unfamiliar clearing. For the first time in moons, their fur was pressed together in friendship. Above them, the snow-heavy gorse offered them a brief shelter from the storm that raged over their heads. The end! That's it! It's done! We finished! What pure friendship! I still can't get over that one line that Gray Stripe said to him when the rogues were fighting. What was that? What was that line he said? I would easily give my life. Let me see. How many more warriors? A lot. In this series, though, we have... How many are there? Are there 6 per series or 5? I think 6. Welcome back! We finished! You had a weenie dog! You want to say 6? Yeah, I want to say 6 too. We finished the book. Per arc, yeah. Let's see. Okay, I scrolled past it. Bum bum ba bum 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 ba dum ba da 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 dum ba dum ba da 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 dum ba dum ba dum ba dum ba da 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 dum ba 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 da da bum ba dum. Is Graystripe or Fireheart in trouble? What happened at the end? I know the battle ended, but anything else? So Silverstream jumped on Fireheart and couldn't recognize him because she had blood in her eyes. And then Graystripe called through the clearing saying stop. So she stopped and she realized who it was and she was really horrified. Then Fireheart jumped on her as if she was about to attack, and then he realized Graystripe was staring at them in horror, and then he let her go. And so Silverstream ran away and Graystripe chased after her. And then Darkstripe saw this interaction and reported it to Tigerclaw after the battle. But Fireheart just kind of gave him some sass and he backed off for now. And Graystripe came back, and then they had a little chat, and now they're laying next to each other warmly and happily as friends once again. Okay, where the heck is this? Where was that quote? I feel like it was chapter 21. They were fighting. Wait, he didn't say it, but I thought he did. Can't remember. Hi! Hi, Tristan! Darkstripe is such a snitch. She's such a wannabe. I bet Tigerclaw promised that once he becomes leader, Darkstripe can be the deputy. I bet. I wonder if Darkstripe knows. You're doing really well? Wonderful. We just finished a Warrior Cat book. So that means next Warrior Cat Wednesdays. Is that a stream about to end? Yeah, stream's gonna end soon. I have to get up, eat some snackies. Maybe drink some milk. I feel like some milk. Took some milk. Get in the cat mood, you know what I mean? Next Warrior Cat Wednesday, we get to start the next book. Wait, what's the next book? Warrior Cat... Something... Warrior Cat... Books. Rising Storm? Dark Forest? Wait, which one is it? Rising Storm, A Dangerous Past, Darkest Hour. Is there only 5? Hold on. Warrior Cats books. Ha! Forest of Secrets! Forest of Secrets. 3. Forest of Secrets, Rising Storm, A Dangerous Path, and The Darkest Hour is last, yeah. Dark Forest is what hell is. There's StarClan and then there's the Dark Forest. That's what hell is. So yeah, there's 6 books. 6 books. Tell me secrets of the forest, you will find them out. I'll read the synopsis. Number 3, Forest of Secrets. Allegiances are shifting among the clans of warriors that... Wait, what? Allegiances are shifting among the clans of warrior cats that roam the forest. With tensions so delicately balanced, friends can become enemies overnight, and some cats are willing to kill to get what they want. Fireheart is determined to find out the truth about the mysterious death of the former ThunderClan deputy, Redtail, but as he searches for answers, he uncovers secrets that might be better left hidden. Dun, 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 dun. More secrets? Getting Pokemon Mystery Dungeon game that can be run from a Sky Temple. Ooh, wow. We're starting next book Wednesday? Yeah, next Wednesday, the next book. Next Wednesday, the next book. What was I didn't put out a schedule this week because I couldn't figure out when I wanted to play on Friday and Saturday. So I still have to decide what to play. We might start Spirit and the Mouse because that's something that I did actually want to start on... What day was it? Monday? Yeah, on Monday I was actually going to start it, but then I didn't. So I think I'll start it. There is Rain World, you're right. I do have to continue Rain World. I was thinking about Rain World recently. I had to answer a question about what my favorite game was, and I put down Rain World! Isn't that nice? I like it. I think maybe my favorite game is tied with Rain World, and I really, really liked, gosh, what's it called? Night in the Woods. I really like Night in the Woods. That's one of my favorite games. And Animal Crossing as a entire thing. But maybe not... I don't know if a specific Animal Crossing is my favorite game. Since you finished Undertale, Deltarune... Oh yeah, true! I want to play Deltarune. Yeah. Ever since I finished Undertale, I've been watching Undertale videos nonstop. Like, seeing all the secrets and all the hidden things. Before stream, I was watching Gaster's tune in every song. And it was like samples of Gaster's 4-note chord motif in like songs in Undertale. That's how they get you, Undertale brain rot. It's in my brain. I want to know all. But unfortunately, a lot of the videos, now that Deltarune is out, a lot of the Undertale videos about Gaster or like just theories in general are also linking to Deltarune. And I'm pretty
I'm more unspoiled about Deltarune than I was about Undertale, so I don't really want to be accidentally finding out information about it. Custom Slugcast! I won't lie, I thought you were gonna say Fortnite. Fortnite's my favorite game. Have I ever streamed Fortnite? I don't think I've ever streamed Fortnite, but I play Fortnite on like, wait, no, I have. Haven't I? I don't know. I can't remember. But I have been on other people's Fortnite streams. I think at least once. Keep it that way, please. What? You don't like Fortnite? You don't like my Ariana Grande skin? You don't want to see my Ariana Grande skin? And my cool buff bunny who's made of chocolate? Also, I have Mr. Beast. I can be Mr. Beast. Fort Nugget on the Switch. Whoa! That's intense. Is it harder? This is decided. I do not like Fortnite. Really? Why? Do you have a bad history with it? That's understandable. Did you know that the time collectively of every single person who has played Fortnite and how much time they've played is like a bazillion years? Like if they collectively put together all those hours of everybody playing Fortnite, it'd be more than a billion years. Like 4 billion years or something crazy. Hate it, and then now I've been 200 each level each season. Cat's going. Cat's crazy. It sounds like me with Cookie Run right now. I finally unlocked there's this event going on in Cookie Run where you can get a menu background if you do like a certain quests and stuff. And I unlocked it today. And now my menu screen's cute and pretty. Oh, I'd say so. I play no build version. Oh yeah, no build version. Got a Switch for Christmas when they came out, and my brother didn't have one, and one of my brothers kept taking my Switch to play, so I couldn't play my Switch, and I had to wait. Oh, you have a grudge against Fortnite for taking... What? Why would they take your Switch? That doesn't feel right. Your brother should get their own Switch. I need to do the events menu. Oh, yes. It sucks because I really wanted to level up Spinach Cookie, but I had to level up the new cookies. I also had to buy the new cookies. I had to waste my gems to get the new cookies and the new pets just so I could get the cool menu background. That's what I want. I want to make Spinach Cookie really good. Hi, Sully! Spinach Cookie seems pretty OP. I also have an outfit for her where she's like in this cute Valentine's Day thing, and she looks really cute in it. I've been grinding on trophy runs so I could get limited stuff because I'm a hoarder. Oh, that sounds like me too. Oh my gosh, last trophy run tourney thing, they had those rare what are they? They're not rare. They're legendary. The legendary treasures for 5,000 points. And now they're just... What are they? Like 3,000? Or they're 2,050? Like, what? I just spent so much time. Been grinding on trophy run. Do you like your head getting pats? I do! I love my head pats. Thank you for the head pats. I'm still struggling. How do I get the purple coins? What are the purple coins anyways? Wait, what purple coins? Yeah, I like it when she's giant and punches things. Then here we... Yay! Head pants for no. Do you guys know what the cards are for in Cookie Run? I don't even know. The extra limited ones in the Trophy Run Master thing. Oh!
Oh, you're out of points. Those ones, you can only get those when you're in master. Like, if you're master ranked and above, you get access to another thing, which is like top tier battlings. Yeah. I haven't reached that either. It's like a top tier tournament for the top tiers of them. And then you get the cool coins. They get the cool cookie jellies, the prettier ones, the ones with more flair and pizzazz. It's pretty sad. I know. But at least we still have like what, 48 days, 47 days. So we still have time. What are you guys talking about? Cookie around the oven break. Me and Squid Ink are best friends now. Oh, nice. I have to max Snow Dude and Captain Ice Spice. Treasures and still not enough. Oh, dang. You should do the popular combo is the Snow Dude and the old Grungly man. Jinsen. Me contemplating using my tax money to spend on... Don't know, I'm more of an ice cream person. Oh, ice cream. Okay, let's look at who to rate today. Who to rate today? Who to rate today? Yugi streaming. Who's this person? Kian Khan. I'm following so many people, I don't know where they came from. You bite ice cream. Sometimes it feels so powerful to bite ice cream. If my teeth aren't sensitive enough to not... No. If my teeth are not sensitive enough to bite ice cream, then I bite ice cream. But if they are, then I can't. You know, you gotta take... What's Al Raven? Al Raven? Is that an AI or an AL? I had ice cream on Tuesday. It's safe to say I am lactose intolerant. Understandable, me too. Okay. I trust you guys. Great. Raven. This channel is intended for mature audiences. Viewer discretion is advised. I'm trusting you guys. Hi, Raven. Wait, I can... Okay, it's a YouTuber. Soulme's talking in chat. Soulme just lurked! Oh my gosh, exposed. Oh, is he playing Hollow Cure? Oh, cute. Okay. Thank you guys for watching and listening! I'm glad! You can't believe I do this? Why? I listen to my viewers. I love my viewers. They're so kind and lovely. Thank you for streaming! Yes! I'll see you guys on Friday when we either start Spirit and Mouse or we... Oh my god, he's playing with Ina. I love Ina. Thank you, Nono. See you Friday. See you! Bye! I love you. Make sure you guys get up, have a drink, have a stretch. If it's night for you, have a good night. If it's day for you, have a good day. Remember, moderation is the key to true happiness. Goodbye!